Chapter 1259. Chapter 1257. Telling you to scram, but her face didn't look as pretty as it did in the picture. It was filled with coldness. She was pretty, but the hatred in her eyes made Lin frown. This girl seemed to be a gang leader? She seemed to be cutting people up quite a bit. Lin had thought that Ziyu was a problem girl, but he didn't think it would be to this extent. About the same as you used to be? Lin looked at Xiao. I'm not as strong as her. I'm just messing around, but she's already cutting people up with her gang. Xiao shook her head. Lin nodded. Xiao was right. Xiao had been studying in a better school, and even as a big sister, she couldn't be like Ziyu, bringing a bunch of gang members with her. This isn't Ziyu? Lin couldn't help but curse. Lin normally wouldn't curse, but he really couldn't hold it in today. What? You really want to fuck her? Xiao blinked. Lin glared at her. Don't joke around, I don't know how to do it. I'm a bit helpless. I thought she was a punching bag with no parents, no big brother to take care of her, but we'll see. Xiao understood Lin Yi's feelings. Bullshit, Scarface Bear, have you forgotten how you got that scar on your head? How dare you come to Fushan High and act all cocky? Ziyu didn't back down. You want to hit on me? Why don't you take a look at yourself? Your face is simply a work of the gods. Why don't you just die? Ziyu, who doesn't know how to talk. You're right, I got this scar because of you, but so what? I swore right then that I'd get you on my bed and fuck you to death. Scarface, who was called Scar Bear, snorted and said, however, this Scar Bear am not the same as before. I'm now working for Brother Guang. Brother Guang has already given me Fushan Middle School's territory. I'm here today to take over Fushan Middle School. Otherwise, do you think I would have dared to come here if I wasn't sure? Why don't you look at the people behind me? Ziyu's face changed after hearing the words. She felt that something wasn't right too. This Scar Bear was just a gangster. How did he get so many people? Moreover, the knives and iron rods in their hands were very professional. It turned out that they had come from another dock. So what if there are more people? When Feilong Bro comes, your men will all die here today. Ziyu frowned, but she wasn't too worried. Fushan High School was divided into 3 factions. Although he was the smallest faction, he had a good relationship with the leader of the largest faction, Nen Feilong. Thus, Nen Feilong couldn't just stand by and watch if something happened to him. Southern Feilong? How naive of you. Women are indeed naive. Scar Bear laughed, not caring at all. How long has it been since I came here? Your follower went to tell Nen Feilong long ago, right? Where is he? Why isn't he here yet? Ziyu's face changed. It wasn't that she didn't think of this, but she had a good relationship with Nen Feilong. She didn't think that he wouldn't come, but now, huh? What? You don't believe me? I'll tell you the truth, Nen Feilong has already made me his boss. Moreover, I've promised him that I'll help him consolidate Fushan High's power. From now on, he'll be the only boss in Fushan High. Scar Bear laughed heartily. Do you think Nen Feilong will stick up for you? You bitch, do you know why Nen Feilong would help you? Because he's always wanted to fuck you. But you didn't let him, so he gave you to me. Do you really think you're friends with Nen Feilong? Ziyu's face was green. She didn't want to believe it, but Scar Bear's words had to be true. Scar Bear, I'm telling you, I won't follow you even if I die. You're disgusting. Ziyu gritted her teeth. Either you let me go, and we'll be fine, or I'll bring my men to fight you. Fuck. Scar Bear spat on the ground, cursing. Ziyu, don't be so shameless. I'm telling you, after I kill all your men, I'll tie you up and get my brothers to gang rape you. You'll be treated differently then. You dare. Ziyu said. I'll kill you. Ha, come at me then. Let's see who kills who. Scar Bear waved his hand, signaling his men to get ready. Lin honey, it's usually time for the master to show up at this point in a TV show. Aren't you going to show up? Xiao called out. Ta. Lin smiled bitterly, speechless. What master? But Lin couldn't just ignore this. Did he come at the right time? If he'd come a second later, Ziyu would have been killed already? Otherwise, he would have been gang raped? From the looks of it, Ziyu wasn't some random girl, or she wouldn't be this stubborn. This made Lin Yi feel a little better. Alright, this has nothing to do with you. Get the hell out of here. Lin Yi walked over and looked at Scar Bear before pointing at Ziyu. I have business with her. What? Scar Bear froze. Scar Bear's men froze. Even Ziyu and her underlings froze. They didn't think that someone would appear out of nowhere. Was this guy an idiot? How could he say something so stupid? Even Ziyu was wondering if there was something wrong with this guy's brain. Telling Scar Bear to fuck off? Ha! Immediately, Scar Bear and his subordinates burst into laughter. They looked at Lin Yi as if they were looking at an idiot. Ignorance was bliss, after all. Kid, what did you just say? You're telling me to fuck off? Scar Bear dug his ear, acting like he didn't hear him clearly. He wasn't annoyed at all, looking at Lin Yi with interest as if he was looking at a dead man. As far as he was concerned, there was no need to get angry over an idiot like Lin. Lin Yi was an idiot, and he could kill him anytime he wanted. Scar Bear wouldn't bother with an idiot. Yeah, I'm telling you to fuck off. Lin Yi looked at Scar Bear. Why aren't you leaving? Chapter 1260. My words don't work? Lin Yi looked up at Scar Bear and saw that he had no intention of leaving. He frowned. What's good about it? Are you retarded? If you're good, then get the fuck out. Why are you still standing here? Scar Bear looked like he heard the funniest joke in the world. He pointed at himself. In Songshan, there are people who dare to tell me to fuck off, but it's definitely not you. My words don't work? Lin Yi asked. You have some self-awareness? Scar Bear laughed when he heard Lin Yi. My words don't work? Then I won't say it. Lin Yi nodded. You shouldn't have said it. Who do you think you are, yelling in front of me? Scar Bear. Do you want to die? Scar Bear laughed coldly and said proudly, kneel down right now and crawl under my crotch, then I'll let this go. Lin Yi didn't wait for him to finish and slapped him on the face. Half of Scar Bear's face caved in. His teeth and cheekbones were probably all broken. Since words don't work, then I'll use force. Lin Yi slapped again and caved in the other half of Scar Bear's face. You? What are you doing? Let go of Brother Bear. Scar Bear's lackeys were confused by Lin Yi's actions. When they reacted, they pointed at Lin Yi and yelled. Lin Yi, however, didn't care about the lackeys behind Scar Bear at all. He kicked Scar Bear's crotch, and the sound of something shattering accompanied the pain. Scar Bear clutched his crotch with both hands as he fell to the ground, rolling around in pain. Can't you just fuck off yourself? You still want me to fuck off for you? Lin Yi shook his head and kicked Scar Bear again. Another crisp sound rang out. Scar Bear's leg was broken by Lin Yi's kick. The reason why Lin Yi did this to Scar Bear was because he wanted to do something to Ziyu. Since she was the pangolin's little sister, then Lin Yi treated her as his own sister. If someone wanted to harm her, then Lin Yi would naturally eliminate them. However, in public, it was not impossible for Lin Yi to kill Scar Bear, but it was possible for him to cripple him. As long as this kind of gangster didn't die, no one would have the nerve to call the police. Scar Bear's underlings were dumbfounded. They had seen ruthless characters, but they had never heard of someone as ruthless as Lin Yi. With just a few words, Lin Yi had broken both sides of Scar Bear's cheekbones. Not only did he turn into a eunuch, he even broke one of his legs. Just what kind of person was this? This brat looked very amiable, but he didn't expect that he would be so merciless when he attacked. Just who are you? How dare you hurt Brother Bear? Don't you know who our Brother Bear is working for? One of Scar Bear's lackeys questioned Lin Yi, but it was obvious that he was afraid of Lin Yi's ferocity as well. You want to stand up for him? Lin Yi looked at the underling. Aye. The underling looked at Lin Yi's cold eyes, and he was a little scared. If he said he wanted revenge for Scar Bear, wouldn't Lin Yi beat him up just like Scar Bear? And so, the underling wasn't stupid. After some hesitation, he waved his blade and yelled to the underlings behind him, everyone attack. Kill this kid and get revenge for Brother Bear. But the next moment, just as he finished speaking, there was a scream. The blade that was originally in his hand had somehow fallen into Lin Yi's hand and stabbed into his thigh. The underling was in so much pain that his eyes rolled back and he fainted on the ground. He was even more vulnerable than Scar Bear. Are you also here to avenge them? Lin Yi ignored the underling from before and looked up at the remaining people. No. No. The man closest to Lin Yi was scared out of his wits. He threw the blade in his hand to the ground. He was afraid that if he spoke too slowly, there would be 2 more holes in his thighs. The guy in front of him was obviously a violent madman. His speed was unbelievable. Before he could see what was going on, there were already 2 people lying on the ground. So, this person didn't have the intention to resist Lin Yi at all. He was afraid that Lin Yi would beat him up, so he quickly put down his weapon and surrendered. If there was 1, there would be 2. If there was 2, there would be 3. The people who originally wanted to fight with Lin Yi saw that their companions had surrendered. Who would be stupid enough to continue looking for trouble with Lin Yi? We don't have the intention to take revenge. We'll leave now. A few people near Lin Yi had already turned around and were ready to leave. Wait, carry these 2 pieces of trash away. Lin Yi pointed to Scar Bear and his underling on the ground. Although these people who were preparing to leave were afraid and unwilling to turn back, who knew what the consequences would be if they didn't go back? Fortunately, this person seemed to be reasonable. As long as they did what he said, then there shouldn't be any problems. So, the few people who left turned back, carried Scar Bear and his underling, and ran away dejectedly. In fact, these people only felt that they had lost face. As for whether or not they wanted to avenge Scar Bear and his subordinate who had his thighs slashed, that was secondary. These people were the lowest rung of society, and Scar Bear had just gotten his position, and it was Guang Bro who sent him over. Other than this underling who was his direct follower, the others were all sent by Guang Bro. All they wanted was to report this to Guang Bro as soon as possible. You're looking for me? Ziyu looked at Lin Yi oddly. This guy's methods were clearly very cruel, even more so than the gangsters she was working for. But the more it was like this, the more she couldn't figure out where Lin Yi was coming from. Was he here to help, or did he have some other purpose? As far as Ziyu was concerned, Lin Yi's arrival was too much of a coincidence. Scar Bear's men were here looking for trouble, and Lin Yi appeared and dealt with them. But Ziyu had never seen Lin Yi before, and she didn't know Lin. She hadn't even heard of this person before. Ziyu? Ziyu asked as Lin Yi studied the girl in front of him. You're looking for me? You don't know who I am? Ziyu was even more puzzled. Lin Yi didn't seem to know her, and wanted to confirm if she was Ziyu or not. I'm Ingjijia's friend. Lin Yi said. Chapter 1261. Chapter 1259. Taking over your guardianship. Your brother went on a mission. It'll take a couple years, and he won't be back for a while. He gave you to me to discipline you for him. Lin Yi said with a frown as he looked at Ziyu's clothes. Why should I believe you? Discipline me for my brother? Ziyu found it funny and snorted. What right do you have to discipline me? My brother doesn't care about me. He's him, I'm me. Lin Yi reached out and tousled Ziyu's colorful hair. Dye it back to black, or I'll shave you bald. Don't touch my hair. My hairstyle. Ziyu screamed, glaring at Lin. I'll kill you. Whatever, as long as you can beat me. Lin Yi ignored her, continuing to cause trouble for Ziyu. Don't wear those tights anymore, it'll affect your growth. Those boobs are so big they're squeezed out, right? Throw that bra away, or it'll get deformed sooner or later. Ah. Ziyu was going crazy. She wanted to kill Lin Yi with one slash, but thinking back to how Lin Yi treated Scar Bear and his men, she was sure that if she attacked Lin Yi, she'd be the one getting beaten up. He was her brother's friend, and he wouldn't kill her, but it wouldn't be easy for him. Ziyu's men stared at each other, not daring to laugh. They'd seen Lin Yi's strength firsthand, so they didn't dare to say anything when Lin Yi insulted their boss. They knew that Ziyu had a very strong brother, a special ops soldier, very strong. He could tell just from Ziyu's kung fu alone. Otherwise, a woman like Ziyu wouldn't have this much prestige, becoming the big sister boss. Since Lin Yi was Ziyu's brother's friend, it made sense. No wonder he was so strong, he might even be a special ops soldier. I don't need you to care about me. Who the hell knows you? Ziyu glared at Lin Yi, drawing a line between them. I was entrusted by your brother to take over your guardianship. It's compulsory, so you don't have the right to resist. Of course, I won't object if you want to resist, but I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lin Yi could tell that a problem girl like Ziyu was the only way to deal with her. She wouldn't listen to a soft approach. And so, Lin Yi beating up Scar Bear and his men was the first step to showing his strength. After that, Lin Yi demanded Ziyu change this and that, using a commanding tone, not a negotiating tone. He didn't want Ziyu to bargain with him. Why should I believe you? Ziyu had pretty much confirmed Lin Yi's identity by now. She'd never mentioned her brother's name to anyone, and with Lin Yi's skills, he was probably her brother's comrade. Lin Yi took out his phone and logged into an encrypted photo album. He found a picture of himself, Armadillo, Yang Huijuan, and the others. Lin Yi kept these pictures in his photo album, rarely touching them. But since he wanted Ziyu to believe him, he had to show her some evidence. This is a picture of me with your brother, 5 years ago. People like us don't take pictures often. Lin Yi lowered his voice so that only Ziyu could hear. This was taken at the end of the mission in North Africa. I was the captain, and your brother was my subordinate. Ziyu blinked. She didn't expect Lin Yi to be the captain. Didn't that mean he was even stronger than her brother? She took over Lin Yi's phone and looked at the picture. She had this picture too, it was always on her brother's table, so she wasn't unfamiliar with it. She just didn't pay attention to the other people in the picture. He held it in his hand and looked at it attentively. The person in the middle of the picture really did look like the Lin Yi in front of him, but a lot younger. A lot more childish. Ziyu paused. How old was Lin Yi 5 years ago? He didn't look older than 19 now. 5 years ago, wouldn't he be 13 or 14? Looking at the little boy Lin Yi in the picture, Ziyu couldn't help but smile. This is you? You're a little dumb. Ziyu looked at Lin Yi with a smile that wasn't a smile. Lin Yi didn't know what to say as he grabbed the phone. All right, now that we've confirmed your identity, listen to me from now onwards. I'll take you to dye your hair and buy some clothes. From tomorrow on, study hard, and if you dare come out and act like a big sister again. Lin Yi frowned. He couldn't think of a way to punish Ziyu. Lin Yi didn't have any experience dealing with a girl at all. He turned around and looked at Xiaoxiao for help. If she doesn't listen, you're going to spank her. Xiaoxiao said, if you don't listen, I'll spank you. Lin Yi nodded and repeated it to Ziyu. He felt that Xiaoxiao's idea wasn't bad, but it wasn't very appropriate. He didn't know what was wrong, so he didn't think too much about it. Ziyu's eyes went wide. Spank my butt? Ever since she was young, no one had ever spanked her, not even her eldest brother. Where did this inexplicable big brother's captain come from? He actually wanted to spank him? Didn't he know that men and women shouldn't touch? All of a sudden, Ziyu felt like she was going crazy. But thinking back to Lin Yi's merciless orders, Ziyu felt that Lin Yi really might spank her. Don't you dare! Ziyu glared at Xiaoxiao. Where did this girl come from? Coming out with such a dirty move? Why didn't he spank her? Ziyu didn't know that Xiaoxiao wasn't being spanked by Lin Yi, but by firecrackers. She was in an even worse state. You'll find out if you try. Lin Yi grabbed Ziyu by the collar like he was grabbing a little chick before looking at the students behind her. All right, disperse. You're so young, yet you're still trying to act like a big brother in the underworld? Go back to your studies. Ziyu's lackeys didn't dare say anything as they watched their big sis get grabbed. This guy was a cruel psychopath. Just one word and he'd start a fight. Didn't they see how arrogant Scar Bear was? He was beaten to the point that he didn't even look human. He probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed for at least a year or two. And these people were just students. Naturally, they weren't as cruel as Scar Bear. Even Scar Bear's lackeys ran away. How could they go against Lin Yi? Chapter 1262. It was this pretty boy. This area belonged to the North District, and Scar Bear was someone Guangbro had just helped get to his position. Now that he was crippled, it'd be weird if Guangbro didn't bring his men to take revenge. Ziyu didn't want to be controlled by Lin Yi, but she didn't want anything to happen to her men. She thought of a good idea. Nan Feilong was unreliable now, and if she wanted to survive in Fushan, she had to get rid of Guangbro. No matter how powerful Fushan Middle School was, it was nothing compared to Guangge, who was in the underworld. I can go with you, but the trouble you've caused isn't over yet. Those people are going to call for reinforcements, and Guang Bro will come looking for trouble later. I can't just leave my men here. Of course, if you can take care of Guang Bro, I'll go with you, Ziyu said as she broke free from Lin Yi's grip. What Guang Bro? But that's fine, we'll wait. Lin didn't care about this Guang Bro at all. In Songshan, Lin Yi could even beat up Qibing and Sihua. What was Guang Bro to him? You're a secret agent, but let me tell you, no matter how strong you are, you can't beat a group of people. They have guns. Ziyu reminded him kind-heartedly. This guy was annoying and a busybody, but Ziyu didn't want him to die just like that. You don't have to worry about that, Lin Yi said faintly. At this time, on the other side of the school field, a group of people surrounded a young man in a black trench coat and walked over here. Ziyu sis, it's Long Bro. One of Ziyu's lackeys said quickly. Ziyu's eyes darkened. Nan Feilong, that two-faced bastard. Scar Bear had left, but he had come. Ziyu, you didn't expect this, did you? You managed to get reinforcements? Nan Feilong spoke in a strange tone even before he got close. It was obvious that he was well informed. News of Lin Yi teaching Scar Bear a lesson had already reached his ears. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such things. Nan Feilong, if you're not going to help me, can't I find someone else? Ziyu puffed her chest out. For the first time, she felt that Lin Yi's appearance was a good thing. She could deal a blow to Feilong. Bitch, looks like you've already hooked up with someone else. A ruthless glint flashed across Nan Feilong's eyes. He lifted his head and looked at Lin. Pretty boy, you're finished. You hit Scar Bear, and Brother Guang is rushing over with his men. You're dead meat today. Ziyu, who's this idiot? Lin Yi had clearly heard Ziyu call him Feilong, but he still repeated it. Evidently, Lin didn't care about Feilong at all. It's summer and you're still wearing a windbreaker? Isn't he afraid of getting heat rash? Ziyu couldn't help but chuckle. That was quite a sarcastic thing to say, but it made sense. This Feilong was always trying to act cool, thinking that he was Su Wenxiang just by wearing a trench coat, walking around the school like he was Su Wenxiang. She didn't think much of it before, but Feilong's betrayal today made Ziyu feel like this guy had a pointy mouth and cheeks, and he looked like an extra in a TV show. It was quite comical. Fuck. Pretty boy, you don't need to be cocky. Guang Bro will be here soon and you'll die then. Feilong humphed coldly. He didn't want to argue with Lin Yi. After all, he'd heard of Lin Yi's strength, and he knew that he wasn't a match for Lin. He chose to endure it for now, waiting for Guang Bro to come, and then Lin Yi would be a dead dog. I was going to wait for him even if you didn't say anything. Lin Yi looked at Feilong. This idiot was on Lin Yi's list of people he needed to get rid of. He heard Scar Bear say that this guy liked Ziyu, and he'd make him a eunuch too. He wasn't a good guy anyway. A mocking smile appeared on Feilong's lips. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi didn't know the difference between heaven and earth. Guang Bro was a man with a gun, and no matter how strong Lin Yi was, he'd still be dead in front of a gun. Lin Yi, honey, this guy's so annoying. He doesn't look like a good guy, why don't you take care of him? Xiao Xiao pointed at Feilong. Oh, I'll let that Guang Bro take care of him later. Lin Yi nodded. Ziyu's mouth twitched. This girl beside Lin Yi was pretty fierce, wasn't she? You can kill whoever you want? She wasn't a secret agent, was she? Feilong's face was full of disdain. He didn't think that Lin Yi could do anything in front of Guang Bro at all. One had to know that Guang Bro was the boss of the North District, someone who could shake up Songshan with a stomp of his foot. A minibus rushed toward Fushan Middle School, and Feilong Nan's eyes flashed with a trace of joy. The minibus stopped at the entrance of Fushan Middle School. Once the door opened, more than 30 youths jumped out. Each of them was much more mature and ruthless than the people Scar Bear had brought. These people were probably real gang members, probably the backbone of Brother Guang's underlings. He had brought all of them in order to keep up appearances. What's going on? Who beat up Scar Bear? Who dares to cause trouble in Guang Bro's territory? Do they want to die? A blonde-haired youth walked over with a bunch of bulky men. Feilong's eyes lit up when he saw Guang Bro. He sprinted towards Guang Bro. In his heart, he had his own plans. It seemed like Scar Bear wouldn't be able to get out of the hospital for at least a year or two, but the North District's Fushan High area needed a new boss. And so Feilong saw an opportunity. If he grasped this opportunity well, then he might very well become the boss of Fushan High. Among all the forces around Fushan Middle School, he was the most powerful. And so Feilong was very attentive, running up to Guangbro as soon as he arrived. Guangbro! It's this pretty boy. It's that Ziyu, that bitch, got her help. Feilong was a cunning man, immediately identifying Lin Yi as Ziyu's lover. This way, Ziyu would be a piece of trash, and Guangbro wouldn't be interested in her. Once Lin Yi died, wouldn't Ziyu be his plaything? Chapter 1263. Chapter 1261. Help me watch her, wah? Guangbro, who was surrounded by people, froze when he saw Lin Yi standing beside Ziyu. Lin Yi? Why was it Lin Yi? Guangbro wanted to die. Yes, he really wanted to die. If he knew that Lin Yi was here, he wouldn't have come. He wouldn't have come even if he had to give up the entire North District, let alone Fushan Middle School. This Guangbro was, naturally, the boss of the North District, Zhou Ruoguang. At this moment, his expression was very interesting and very unsightly. Zhou Ruoguang knew very well what happened to Zhening Jun. So what if Ma Zhu was strong? Didn't he get crippled by Hayashi Lin? Hayashi Lin was fine, and he was still alive and kicking. He heard that Ma Zhu's Shifu was coming down the mountain, and Zhou Ruoguang didn't think much of it. So what if it was his Shifu? In front of the omnipotent Hayashi Lin, his Shifu was just a piece of trash. Motherfucker! Zhou Ruoguang was so angry that he slapped Feilong Nan's face. A crisp slap sounded, stunning Feilong and his men. Even most of Zhou Ruoguang's men were stunned. Only a small portion of Zhou Ruoguang's men had seen Lin Yi before, and they knew that Lin Yi was a ruthless man. They understood why Zhou Ruoguang would go crazy and beat up Feilong. Guangbro! Feilong was stunned and didn't know what to do. He covered his mouth and mumbled, Guangbro, it wasn't me, it was that pretty boy, he was the one who beat Scar Bear, not me. You hit the wrong person. He did a good job. He did a good job. Zhou Ruoguang was shocked and quickly said, I'm hitting you. I didn't hit the wrong person. Even Ziyu and her men were dumbfounded. What was wrong with this Guangbro? Did he just slap Nin Feilong? Had Brother Guang gone mad? But no matter what, Ziyu and her men were happy that Feilong was beaten up. Feilong was even more dumbfounded. I didn't make a mistake? Then why did Brother Guang hit him? Kill this brat for me. Beat them to death. Zhou Ruoguang pointed at the wyvern and ordered his men. Nan Feilong was definitely an enemy of Lin Yi's faction. In that case, Hayashi Lin didn't even need to do anything. He would deal with him himself. Although many of Zhou Ruoguang's men didn't understand what was going on, since their boss had spoken, then they would fight. Thus, Nin Feilong was surrounded and howled like a ghost. Zhou Ruoguang's men, on the other hand, were all experienced fighters. They could make people feel pain without causing any injuries. Guangbro only said to beat him to death, not kill him directly. So these people didn't dare go all out. You come here. Lin Yi waved at Zhou Ruoguang. Zhou Ruoguang jumped in fright. He looked like he was in pain, but he didn't dare disobey Lin Yi's words. He could only carefully walk over to Lin Yi. Hayashi Lin, you're here? Look, in the North District, there are still some troublemakers causing trouble in front of Hayashi Lin. It's all my fault. I'm sorry. Zhou Ruoguang's attitude was very low. He had to. Zhou Ruoguang knew very well what kind of person Lin Yi was. If Lin Yi wanted to mess with you, he didn't even need to kill you, he'd make you wish you were dead. Ziyu's eyes widened in disbelief. Why was the boss of the North District, Guangbro, acting like this in front of Lin Yi? Did he get beaten up by Lin Yi as well? Don't talk like that. Lin Yi frowned. No need to explain, I'm not going to do anything to you. Since you're here, I have something to tell you. Hayashi Lin, just say the word. Don't worry, I'll get it done. Zhou Ruoguang patted his chest and promised that Lin Yi was looking for him. This was a great chance to repair his relationship with Lin. He'd be an idiot if he didn't take this opportunity. That Nin Feilong, just cripple him, no need to kill him. Lin Yi pointed at Zhou Ruoguang's men, who were beating the crap out of Feilong. Zhou Ruoguang was just a gangster, after all, and he'd probably be held responsible for killing someone in public. Lin Yi didn't want to hurt him. Yes. Zhou Ruoguang nodded and turned to his men. Did you hear that? Hayashi Lin told you to cripple that Nan Feilong. Kick him in the crotch. Nan Feilong's underling hurriedly responded, and Nan Feilong squealed like a pig being slaughtered. Ziyu's mouth twitched once more. This Lin Yi was really cruel, wasn't he? But the weird thing was, how did he order Zhou Ruoguang around? Hayashi Lin, is there anything else you need me to do? Zhou Ruoguang asked curiously. If it was just crippling Nan Feilong, Lin Yi could do it too. It was such a simple thing, just like crippling Scar Bear. Lin Yi did it so easily. Yes, there's more. Lin Yi grabbed Ziyu's collar and pulled her in front of him, turning to Zhou Ruoguang. Do you know her? Yes, Ying Ziyu, Fushan High School, the big sister of the third gang. Zhou Ruoguang didn't know what Lin Yi was talking about, but Lin Yi seemed to be a little close with Ziyu. So, in this uncertain situation, Zhou Ruoguang introduced Ziyu without any emotions. Zhou Ruoguang of course knew Ziyu. He'd been drooling over her before, but thinking about it, a delinquent girl like her had probably been fucked countless times already. Zhou Ruoguang wasn't that interested anymore. Yes, good. She's my sister now, I need her to study hard. Keep an eye on her, call me immediately if she's messing around in society again. Lin Yi ordered. No problem. Zhou Ruoguang was thankful that he hadn't played with Ziyu before, or he'd probably be kicked into a eunuch by Lin Yi today. Wiping his sweat, Zhou Ruoguang ignored Ziyu's murderous glare. No problem, leave it to me. Leave it to me from now on, in the North District, I'm the most well-informed. Don't worry, Hayashi Lin, I'll make sure Miss Ziyu studies hard every day. Otherwise, I'll be the one to blame. Zhou Ruoguang was overjoyed. Being able to do something for Lin Yi was a great thing. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to get close to Lin Yi, but now that he was doing things for Lin Yi, how so would be Lin Yi's dog in name. Lin Yi wouldn't attack his own people, would he? Chapter 1264. Chapter 1262, Can't Fight Back, You're the boss of the North District. Why are you acting like a dog? Ziyu looked at Zhou Ruoguang, a little disgusted. She used to worship him, thinking that he had to be something to be able to become the boss of the North District at such a young age. She didn't expect him to be a bootlicker. And hearing him promise to Lin Yi that he'd keep an eye on her and not let her go out, that pissed her off even more. She couldn't help but mock him. With Lin Yi here, she wasn't afraid. If it were before, Ziyu wouldn't have a good ending if she said something like that to Zhou Ruoguang, but now, Zhou Ruoguang didn't care at all. He turned around with a grin. Miss Ziyu, don't blame me, it's hard for me too. You're Hayashi Lin's godsister, but I still have to listen to Hayashi Lin, don't I? Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. Ziyu looked at Zhou Ruoguang's fawning face and felt a chill. This guy was hopeless. Whatever. You're a bully. Ziyu grabbed Lin Yi's arm and bit down. Lin Yi wasn't expecting this, so he wasn't prepared. But Lin Yi dodged it if he wanted to, and with a flick of his hand, Ziyu was thrown 3 feet away, landing stably on the ground. Ziyu was even angrier that she didn't get to bite Lin Yi. You need a beating, huh? Lin Yi looked at her. Don't try anything funny, come dye your hair with me. Ziyu's underlings understood the situation as well. The power structure of Fushan High was about to change. Feilong was crippled, and he'd probably disappear from Fushan High. Ziyu, on the other hand, was forcefully taken away by a brother to study. Most importantly, this brother of his was very powerful. Not only was he good at fighting, but even the boss of the North, Zhou Ruoguang, had to bow and scrape in front of him. In this way, only the second strongest faction was left. Who would have thought that second bro would take advantage of it? But they knew that they couldn't follow Ziyu anymore. Even if they wanted to, Lin Yi wouldn't let them. They'd die a horrible death. Lin Yi took Ziyu and nodded to Zhou Ruoguang before leaving with Xiaoxiao. Zhou Ruoguang saw Lin Yi off respectfully and said, Hayashi Lin, take care. Don't flatter me. Remember what I said. Lin Yi said faintly, however, if someone bullies her, I will settle the score with you. No. Zhou Ruoguang said quickly, Miss Ziyu is Hayashi Lin's sister, that means she's my miss. Miss Ziyu, I'll protect you from now on. Ziyu almost burst out laughing at Zhou Ruoguang's words. But a sense of accomplishment that she'd never felt before filled her heart. In the past, Ziyu dreamed of being able to unify the underworld of Songshan and have the bosses of all the districts bow down to her. But she knew that it was just a dream. Women in the underworld were born weak, and they couldn't go too far. But today, Ziyu finally got to enjoy that kind of treatment. Seeing how respectful Zhou Ruoguang was to Lin Yi, Ziyu realized that her dream was being fulfilled in another way. She wondered when the big boss of Songshan would start praising her like this. What are your eyes rolling around for? What are you thinking of now? I'm telling you, study hard from tomorrow onwards. I'll get someone to test you regularly, and if you can't pass, I'll spank your ass 100 times. Lin Yi glared at her. Lin didn't care about Ziyu at all. In Lin Yi's eyes, she was just a kid, and so Lin Yi really treated her like a sister. No, nothing. Ziyu tried asking, then you won't be able to stop me if I go with Zihua, right? You can try. If he dares to take you in, I'll burn down his floating cloud bar. Lin Yi frowned as he said faintly. Oh. Ziyu wasn't disappointed at all. She was actually excited. Lin Yi wasn't scared of Zihua. Her brother seemed to be pretty strong as a captain. She'd have a bright future if she followed him, right? But he didn't seem to be a gangster. Zhou Ruoguang called him Hayashi Lin? What did Hayashi Lin mean? Was he some sort of shaman? No way. Did my brother really ask you to take care of me? Ziyu calmed down after getting in the taxi. She knew she couldn't fight back, and she could only accept her fate. Yeah, Lin Yi nodded. Thinking of Armadillo, Lin Yi felt a little gloomy. My brother? Where is he now? Why isn't he back? Ziyu asked. He's on a special mission, and he might not be back for a long time. Your brother told me that you're about to take your high school entrance exams, and he told me to come see you and make sure you study. Lin Yi said, Oh, I haven't seen my brother in a long time. Ziyu sighed. Do you think someone like me can get into high school? You can start studying tomorrow. Lin Yi said faintly. You'll still have a future in the underworld, right? Ziyu asked carefully. Bullshit. Look at what happened to Zhou Ruoguang. It'd be easier than stepping on an ant if I wanted to kick him to death. Lin Yi sighed. Ziyu was at the rebellious stage of adolescence, and it was the most serious. Kids at this stage were impulsive, violent, and loved excitement. In their eyes, the big bosses of the underworld were powerful beings, and Ziyu was just like that. But Lin Yi had to give her a proper outlook on life, telling her that Zhou Ruoguang had no future, and even Zihua had no future. Then what do you do? Ziyu asked. I used to be your brother's colleague, but I'm a student now. Lin Yi didn't hide it. Ziyu would find out sooner or later. Student? Ziyu paused, looking at Lin Yi oddly. You're a student? Yeah, Songshan's first school. I came back to study. Lin Yi said. Why are you asking so many questions? Mind your own business first. Ziyu pouted, resisting Lin Yi's violent upbringing a little, but there was nothing she could do. What could she use to go against him? Even people she thought were powerful had to bow and scrape in front of him. Ziyu didn't think she could win against Lin Yi in an argument. The key was that Lin Yi didn't seem to know how to be gentle with her at all, treating her like a child. Ziyu had no way of dealing with this. Chapter 1265. Encountering Ziyu. There's a barber shop up ahead, sir. Let's park there. Lin Yi pointed at a small barber shop not far away. He turned to Ziyu. Let's do it here. I'll take you to get your hair dyed. No, it's too low class here. Ziyu shook her head. Low class? As long as you can dye your hair, what's the point? Lin Yi frowned, unhappy with Ziyu's luxurious lifestyle. But thinking about Armadillo's income, her family shouldn't be lacking money. Low-class hair dyes can cause cancer. Ziyu pouted. Is that so? Lin Yi turned to Xiao. Yeah, that's true. But once or twice shouldn't be a problem. Xiao nodded. If it's that easy, then forget it. Let's go to a high-class one. Lin Yi said to the driver, Sir, let's go to the highest class hair salon. All right. The driver nodded. They knew all the high-class entertainment places in Songshan like the back of their palms, including hair salons. Soon, The car stopped in front of a very luxurious salon. One could tell from the number of luxury cars parked outside that the customers here were all rich. It wasn't common to see people like Lin Yi coming in a taxi, so the security at the door paused when he saw Lin Yi and the others get out of the taxi. But the security here was very highly trained, and they wouldn't discriminate against customers. Lin Yi and the others walked over, and the security greeted them respectfully before ushering Lin Yi and the others into the salon. "Sir, are you looking for a hair salon?" A waitress walked over with a smile. "Yeah, I'll dye her hair." Lin Yi brought Ziyun in front of the waitress. "Dye her hair black." "Sir, do you have an appointment?" The waiter thought to himself. The little girl must have dyed her hair behind her family's back and was discovered by her elder brother. "No, do I need to make an appointment?" Lin Yi was slightly surprised. "If you don't have a reservation, you can only wait in line. There are still a few customers in front of you," the waiter explained. "I see." Lin Yi nodded. He raised his head and looked around the salon. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that this place also belonged to Pengzhan Industries. In the salon's lobby, Lin Yi saw Pengzhan Industries' logo. From the looks of it, Pengzhan was involved in quite a number of industries. No wonder so many people were after his company's assets. But since it was Pengzhan's company, Lin Yi didn't need to be courteous. Putting aside the fact that Lin Yi was a shareholder of Pengzhan Industries, Lin Yi's relationship with Pengzhan and the miss meant that he didn't need to be courteous. Lin Yi took out his diamond membership card and passed it to the waitress. "I have a membership card." The waitress took the card from Lin Yi and was shocked when she saw the level on it. "Why didn't you take it out earlier if you had a membership card? Was this his first time here?" "Sir, you are a diamond VIP. You don't need to line up. You can go to the VIP room upstairs." Although the waiter muttered in his heart, he was respectful on the surface. "But the diamond VIP room is already used. Can only the ordinary VIP room be used?" After all, Pengzhan Industries didn't give out many diamond membership cards, and they were only given to people with connections. As a company under Pengzhan Industries, one diamond VIP room was usually enough. It wasn't possible for all the diamond VIP members to come at the same time. But today was an accident. There was a VIP in the diamond VIP room, trying on her hair and makeup. So Lin Yi had to go to the normal VIP room first. They couldn't kick the diamond VIP out, could they? Plus, the diamond VIP was a very important person. "Sure, let's go then." Luckily, Lin Yi didn't care about that at all. He took out the card because he didn't want to wait and wanted to do Ziyu's hair as soon as possible. The VIP lounge and the Diamond VIP lounge were both located on the top floor of the salon. The Diamond VIP lounge was a separate room, while the VIP lounge was a large room. The difference in service between the two was not big, but the environment was slightly different. Ziyu had always wanted to go to a better salon, but she'd never been to a place this good before. She'd only go to the middle-class ones, and this was her first time here. Her eyes kept looking around, feeling that this place was really high class. But when Ziyu was looking around, she saw someone she used to worship a lot. Zihua was sitting in the corner of the VIP room. He was probably waiting for someone or doing something. When Ziyu saw him, Lin Yi saw him as well. Lin Yi wasn't surprised that Zihua was here. Pengzhan was the boss of Songshan's underworld, and it was understandable that he had a diamond VIP card. But with his relationship with Qibing, who would believe that Zihua would come to Pengzhan Industries' business just because he had nothing better to do? There had to be something going on. Lin Yi was right. Zihua really did have something going on here. Su Shirhan was trying on her hair and makeup here, and Qibing was drooling over her. He sent Zihua to find out where she was, to see if she'd come back to him for treatment. Zihua had no choice but to become the paparazzi here. "Isn't this Zihua, bro?" Lin Yi turned his head, a mocking smile on his face. "When are you going to pay me back the money you owe me?" "Ahem." Zihua coughed twice, his face a little ugly. There was nothing he could do to Lin Yi. He didn't dare piss him off, and he didn't dare scold him. Wasn't House Yu the perfect example? See? If you don't study hard, you'll end up like that idiot Zihua, going around in debt. Look at how pitiful he'll be. Even in the VIP room, he'll have to find a corner to sit. Lin Yi pointed at Zihua and called out to Ziyu. Ziyu didn't think that what Lin Yi said was true. This Zihua was like a punching bag in front of Lin Yi, smiling bitterly even when Lin Yi was mocking him like that. In Ziyu's heart, Zihua's big bro image had completely crumbled. Why were these people all so weak? Not a single one of them worked hard? Chapter 1266. Wait for someone. Wait for someone. Zihua shivered when he saw Lin Yi's hand reach into his pocket. This guy wasn't playing with needles again, was he? His brother was a sponge now, full of holes, and someone as strong as Yaowang was now an antenna. Zihua didn't dare act rashly in front of Lin. Wait for someone? Lin Yi asked. The people in the diamond room. Zihua was troubled, but he had to answer Lin Yi's question. Oh, keep waiting then. Since they were waiting for someone, Lin Yi naturally lost interest. It was fine as long as they weren't here to cause trouble. Lin Yi let Zihua go and found a waitress, telling her that Ziyu wanted to dye her hair back to black. And so, under Ziyu's unwillingness, the waiter started applying the ointment on her hair. Missing, your skin color is actually very pretty when you're yellow before, but if you dye it back to black, there's nothing special about it anymore. I suggest you dye it blue and black. You look pretty under the sun. The hairdresser suggested. My words don't count. My guardian won't let me. Ziyu was troubled and didn't call Lin Yi big bro anymore. She just called him guardian. The hairdresser couldn't help but chuckle and shake his head, continuing to dye Ziyu's hair. This sister of yours is quite cute. Xiaoxiao sat beside Lin Yi, and Lin Yi sat not far from Zihua, waiting for Ziyu. Zihua, on the other hand, felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. After a while, he felt uncomfortable and went downstairs, planning to wait for Su Shihan in the car. Seeing Lin Yi reminded him of his brother and Yaowang, and he didn't want that to happen to him. It's alright, just a little kid. Didn't think that a bad example like Zihua would be here. Saves me the trouble. Lin Yi smiled. Wasn't I the same as her before? Xiaoxiao looked at Ziyu and thought of her old self. Your situation is different from hers. You have a problem with your body, which led to your extreme personality, but she's different. She worships violent things from the bottom of her heart. If she sees the nature of violence clearly, I believe she won't do it again, Lin Yi said. Let's hope so. Do you think she can get into high school? Xiaoxiao asked. Whether she gets in or not, it's fine as long as she works hard. When the time comes, she will still go to first high school. Lin Yi smiled and said, it's just to give her some pressure. Pressure is good. Only with pressure can you improve. Xiaoxiao nodded. You're under a lot of pressure right now, right? Why do you say that? Lin Yi was slightly startled. Because of me. You don't have to feel so pressured if you want to find a way to cure me. Life and death are up to the heavens. I don't want to leave you guys right now, but I've thought it through. It's fine, I'm already very happy, Xiaoxiao said. Don't think so much, there'll always be a way. Lin Yi didn't say much on this topic. 1, he didn't want Xiaoxiao to be sad, and 2, Lin Yi didn't have a good idea yet. Ziyu's hair was dyed black. It wasn't obvious after washing it, but it would turn black after a few more washes. Are you happy now? Ziyu looked at herself in the mirror. She looked a lot more innocent now, and her hairstyle was fixed up too. She had the youthful shoulder-length hair of a schoolgirl, and it didn't match the tight clothes she was wearing at all. You're starting to look like a schoolgirl now. Let's go buy some clothes. Lin Yi grabbed Ziyu and walked out. Don't carry me, I can walk myself. Ziyu felt a little embarrassed, being carried around like a little chick. This guy really thought she was a little girl. She was 16 and she knew everything. When Lin Yi got downstairs, Zihua wasn't gone yet. The car was still in the parking lot, but Lin Yi ignored him and took Ziyu to a clothing store. They didn't go to expensive brand-name stores, just a few casual sportswear stores. They bought some clothes that schoolgirls usually wore, and had Xiaoxiao go to the changing room to force Ziyu to change into them. Ziyu, who came out of the changing room, was no longer the gangster girl from before. She looked like a girl next door, young and cute. Her eyes were bright, and she didn't have any makeup on her face, looking much more natural. Most importantly, her breasts weren't as big as before. That's more like it. Lin Yi nodded, satisfied. You're still acting like a schoolgirl, but if you keep squeezing your breasts that big, I'll cut them off for you. Ziyu's face turned red from Lin Yi's scolding. She glared at Lin Yi, wanting to bite him to death. Go to the bookstore now and buy a few exercise books. Read them from top to bottom when you get back, and I'll do a spot check next week. If you get more than 5 questions wrong, I'll smack your butt. Lin Yi threatened. Ziyu was speechless. Her basics were bad, and when had she ever learned anything? Now that Lin Yi wanted her to do exercise books, wasn't that like killing her? But there was nothing she could do to a tyrant like Lin Yi. Guang Bro and Sihua Bro were nothing in front of Lin. They were more punching bags than punching bags. Ziyu's temper was gone, and she didn't doubt that she'd get a spanking if she went against Lin. After buying the clothes, Lin Yi brought Ziyu to the bookstore like a parent, buying her a bunch of revision materials. Ziyu's face was like a bitter gourd, but she didn't dare say anything against it. She could only accept it angrily. When the 3 of them took a taxi back to Fushan Middle School, the power structure of Fushan Middle School had been settled. Under Zhou Ruoguang's instructions, Brother He, who used to be the 2nd largest gang in Fushan Middle School, became the sole boss of Fushan Middle School and was directly under Zhou Ruoguang's jurisdiction. Of course, while He Bro was happy for himself, he was troubled as well. He'd gotten Zhou Ruoguang's permission, and other than him, there was another miss in the school, in Ziyu. He didn't know how she got to know this Hayashi Lin all of a sudden, but if even Guang Bro called her an old servant, then she definitely wasn't a simple person. He Bro was even more scared, afraid that he'd get into trouble if he didn't serve her well. He knew what happened to Scar Bear and Nen Feilong, and he didn't want to end up like them. So, as the boss in name, he could only wait at the school gates like a servant. Chapter 1267. Chapter 1265. The acquaintances in school. He knew what happened to Scar Bear and Nen Feilong, and he didn't want to end up like them. As the boss in name, He Bro had no choice but to become a servant at the school gates. But it was okay, other than serving Ziyu, the Grand Miss, all the power in the school belonged to him. It was much stronger than before. Seeing the young girl get off the taxi, He Bro found it hard to connect her with big sis Ing Ziyu. Was this Ing Ziyu? Was Ziyu that cute? She was sexy, but this was the first time He Bro thought that she was cute. But even if she was cute, that was fine. Ziyu was being held by the neck by a man who didn't even look that old, and he was walking towards the school. But He Bro wasn't stupid. He remembered what Guang Bro said earlier. This man was Hayashi Lin, without a doubt. At the thought, He Bro quickly ran over, very respectful. Miss Ziyu, welcome back to school. This must be Hayashi Lin, right? I've been waiting for you for a long time. What did you say? Lin Yi was confused. For you, I'm Lil K, the new boss of Fushan School that Guang Bro promoted. Of course, in front of you too, I'm just a little servant. Guang Bro told me that I'll watch Miss Ziyu's studies, protect her, and not let anyone bully her. Please don't worry, Hayashi Lin. He Bro patted his chest. Alright, go away. It's none of your business. Lin Yi waved his hand, indicating that He Bro could go play somewhere else. He Bro nodded. Just as Lin Yi was about to bring Ziyu into the school, a familiar voice called out to him. Lin Yi Bro, Xiao sis, it's really you guys. Chen Shi ran over happily. I thought it looked like you guys, but it really is you guys. Why you guys here? Are you here to see me? Chen Shi? You study here too? Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't think that a girl like Chen Shi would go to such a chaotic school. Yeah. Chen Shi nodded when her eyes landed on Ziyu's face in front of Lin Yi. She covered her mouth and pointed at Lin Yi in disbelief. You're Ziyu sis? Ziyu lowered her head when she saw Chen Shi running over. She really didn't want Chen Shi to see her like this, but Chen Shi still recognized her. Oh, you know Ziyu? Lin Yi was curious. It seemed like the two were quite close. Yeah, Ziyu sis always takes care of me in school. Chen Shi nodded. She wasn't really that close with Ziyu. After all, Chen Shi was a good girl, and Ziyu was a big sis. But they were in the same class. One time, Chen Shi was being harassed by a few boys, and Ziyu couldn't stand it anymore. She taught them a lesson, and after that, Ziyu announced that Chen Shi was her sister, someone she would protect, and no one dared to bully Xianxia anymore. The knife in Ziyu's hand was no joke. No one dared to provoke her. Xianxia was pretty, but so was Ziyu. No one would do that. Oh, that's perfect. From today on, Ziyu's going to study hard. Xianxia, since you're classmates with her, you should help her with her studies. I bought a bunch of revision materials for her, you guys can read them together. Lin Yi knew Xianxia's family situation. She probably couldn't afford studying materials normally, or she wouldn't be able to stay in a school like this without spending money. And so, Xianxia could read with Ziyu, and Ziyu could help Xianxia with the things she didn't know. Xianxia was very happy. She was grateful to Ziyu for taking care of her, but she also wanted Ziyu to focus on her studies. As far as she was concerned, Ziyu wasn't dumb. She was smart, and if she focused on her studies, she wouldn't be any worse than her. Man, I'll be counting on you from now on. Ziyu stopped pretending now that she was recognized. Xianxia was going to find out sooner or later, and with her help, she might be able to learn faster. Xianxia was the first in the school. How's your mom? Xiao turned to Xianxia. She's all right. Ever since she drank the medicine Lin Yi bro gave her, she's gotten a lot better. Xianxia nodded happily. I'm so lucky, meeting Ziyu sis in school, and meeting Lin Yi bro and Xiao sis outside. Yeah, alright, I'll go get some medicine for you later, and I'll go see your mom at home. Lin Yi didn't actually need to go to Xianxia's house. Lin Yi knew Xianxia's mom's condition like the back of his hand. Even if he didn't go, Lin Yi would be able to find the right medicine. But Lin Yi was a little curious about that Grandpa Zhu. This guy was clearly a mystic late-phase peak, so why was he picking up trash beside a little girl? Lin Yi followed Ziyu and Xianxia to their classroom. The students had all heard about Lin Yi's exploits outside the school. There were no secrets in the school, and everyone was very respectful of Lin Yi. Even if Ziyu wasn't the big sister anymore, they were more afraid of her than when she was the big sister. With such a strong brother, she could do whatever she wanted in the school. Even Guang bro and He bro were very respectful to her, let alone normal students. Now that Xianxia and Lin Yi were very close, the students all regretted it. They didn't offend Xianxia because of Ziyu, but they still looked down on her for studying so hard every day. But from today onwards, no one dared to look down on her. This is your class, why is it so messy? Lin Yi frowned as he looked at the weirdly dressed students in the classroom. Some were playing poker, some were playing video games, and there were even couples hugging and kissing each other. Lin Yi frowned. How old was she, and she was already dating? And touching each other? How could Xianxia study properly in this kind of environment? Every class is like this, you just have to get used to it. Xianxia didn't think much of it. Chapter 1268. Chapter 1266. Weird Uncle Lin Ziyu stuck her tongue out, not daring to say anything. She really was a bit scared of Lin Yi. Lin Yi walked up to the podium and knocked on it with the eraser. The chaotic classroom quieted down immediately. These people all knew who Lin Yi was, even the boss of the North District, Guang bro, called himself an old slave. What kind of person was he? Listen up, all of you. From tomorrow onwards, if you want to come to school, go back to your normal clothes. The guys are not allowed to go topless, and the girls are not allowed to show their thighs or breasts. Dye your hair back to black and study in class. If you don't want to come to school, you can leave now. Lin Yi's voice was calm, but there was an indescribable power in it. I've said what I have to say. If anyone disobeys, you'll have to bear the consequences. The students in the classroom were in pain, but there was nothing they could do about it. Under Lin Yi's pressure, they could only hold their noses and accept it. When Lin Yi brought Ziyu back to school, it was almost time for school to end. Not long after, the bell rang in the hallway, and the students started packing their bags. There's no teacher? Lin Yi asked curiously. The teachers come in the morning, and they usually have self-study in the afternoon. Xianxia said. Everyone doesn't like to study, and they won't listen when the teachers come. There's nothing we can do about it. Lin Yi nodded helplessly. Xianxia was right, this was how the school was. It was a problem from top to bottom, and it wasn't something that could be changed easily. This was something the headmaster should worry about, and Lin Yi couldn't be bothered. He brought Ziyu and Xianxia out of the school with Xiao. They got a taxi and sent Ziyu home, getting her to know the place so that Lin Yi could catch her whenever he wanted. Ziyu's neighborhood wasn't that high class, just a normal old neighborhood. It seemed that Lin Yi was right, she didn't have much money on her. Armadillo had left her some, but it had been so many years, and she'd probably spent most of it. Do you have enough money? Lin Yi looked around the place, feeling that it was clean and tidy. He nodded. It seemed that Ziyu wasn't a sloppy girl, and Lin didn't find anything bad in her house. Although Lin Yi's attack counted as a sudden attack, and Ziyu probably wouldn't have prepared anything beforehand, Lin Yi still checked every single room carefully. Lin Yi was afraid that Ziyu would hide some drugs, ecstasy, and whatnots. Lin Yi was afraid that Ziyu would get into the habit of taking drugs. One had to know that Lin Yi's detection abilities were quite strong, and all the hidden items in the room couldn't escape his eyes. Lin Yi walked around a big room. This should be Ziyu's brother's room, Armadillo's. The room was very spacious, and other than a bed, a desk, and a small closet, there was nothing else. It didn't take long for him to finish his investigation. Other than some of the armadillo's clothes, letters, and pictures, there was nothing else. Looking at the pictures Armadillo kept, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. Lin Yi couldn't help but remember some things from back then. But here, Lin Yi couldn't let himself show any hint of sadness. It'd be bad if Ziyu found out. Lin Yi left Armadillo's room and went into Ziyu's room. Ziyu didn't mind when Lin Yi went into her brother's room, thinking that he was helping her brother take something. But when she saw that Lin Yi didn't take anything and went back to her room, as if he was looking for something, she panicked. Like a cat that got its tail stepped on, she jumped in front of Lin. What are you looking for? Lin Yi's heart sank when he saw how nervous she was. Could it be that she really hid something in her room and didn't want him to find it? Could it be that she really was a drug addict? Stand there. Lin Yi glared at Ziyu and ignored her, continuing to look for something in the room. Ziyu stomped her feet when she saw that she couldn't stop Lin. Her face was red, but there was nothing she could do. She could only close the door, not letting Xiao and Qianxia see what was going on in the room. What are you looking for? I'll find it for you, Ziyu said as she watched Lin Yi get closer and closer to her bed. Stand there. Didn't you hear me? Lin Yi frowned, ignoring her. Ziyu felt wronged, but there was nothing she could do. She could only look at Lin Yi worriedly, looking around her bed. Suddenly, she saw Lin Yi pick something up. Ziyu felt like her heart was going to explode. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. He found her. He found her. She was done for. She was really done for. She wouldn't have any face left in the future. Lin Yi was speechless. He finally understood why Ziyu was stopping him from looking for things. She hid a vibrator under her pillow. Lin Yi felt a little awkward holding the vibrator, but since he'd found it and he was playing the role of a guardian, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore it. It seemed that she wasn't that young anymore, even though he'd always treated her like a kid. 16 years old. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Didn't he sneak into porn when he was 16 and get caught by his old man? It was really awkward back then. Ziyu, on the other hand, was a gangster boss. She'd probably seen a lot of stuff like this, and she'd probably seen those movies before. Ziyu only bought a vibrator for herself, and it made Lin Yi feel much better than bringing a guy home for the night. It seemed that this Ziyu was a very clean girl. As for whether or not she was using a vibrator to masturbate, Lin Yi didn't see anything wrong with that. He coughed. You should focus on your studies now, don't use these things too much. When you use it, you need to be hygienic. You don't get a gynecological disease at such a young age. Come here, I'll give you a checkup. Checkup? Ziyu was embarrassed when she heard what Lin Yi said, but what Lin Yi said next made her eyes go wide. Gynecological disease? Checkup? Was Lin Yi going to give her a checkup? Chapter 1269. Chapter 1267, Opening Ziyu? Yes, check. Lin Yi nodded solemnly. Lin Yi was pretty sure that Ziyu didn't have anything like ecstasy in her room, but he wasn't sure if the girl had eaten anything like that before. Checking her pulse was the safest way. Of course, he could check if the girl had gotten herself some gynecological disease or something. You really want to check? Ziyu gritted her teeth as she looked at Lin Yi bitterly. Upon closer inspection, this guardian was quite handsome and capable, with even Sihua and Zhou Ruoguang treating him with respect. This was the Prince Charming of her dreams, but this guy didn't care about her at all. He was a tyrant. He suddenly wanted to check her body again, and this made Ziyu instinctively resist. No, she really couldn't. What's with all the bullshit? Lin Yi frowned and pulled Ziyu in front of him, grabbing her hand and checking her pulse. Ziyu snapped out of her shock, only to realize that Lin Yi didn't take off her clothes like she'd imagined, only checking her pulse. Ziyu breathed out in relief, but couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. It seemed like she was thinking too much. He still treated her like a kid. Good, I haven't done drugs before. Lin Yi breathed out in relief, his eyes softening as he looked at Ziyu. I don't have any gynecological diseases for now, but I can't say for sure in the future. Pay attention to your personal hygiene when you do it, don't stuff it in, just leave it outside. Ziyu was going crazy again, glaring at Lin Yi. I'm not an idiot. Put it in and it'll break. I'm still a virgin. Lin Yi paused at the sight of Ziyu going crazy, but he understood what was going on. He treated her like a kid, but she probably didn't think the same way. She was already 16, and she wasn't a kid to her anymore. It was normal for her to be angry after hearing what he said. All right. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and let go of Ziyu's hand. I hate you. I hate you. Ziyu ran to her bed after Lin Yi let her go, hiding the vibrator and burrowing into her blanket, crying. Today was probably the most embarrassing day. Her privacy was exposed by a guy. She didn't want to live anymore. This guy was her guardian, but Ziyu didn't feel like one no matter how she looked at him. Ziyu felt wronged. Would he think that she was a shameless girl? Buying these things at such a young age? Ziyu's reaction made Lin Yi a bit helpless. He sighed as he looked at the crying Ziyu on the bed. He'd treated her like a kid, but he'd forgotten about her emotions as a young girl. But this thing wasn't easy to talk to. He turned around and walked out of Ziyu's room, seeing Xiaoxiao and Xianxia chatting in the living room. He waved his hand at Xiaoxiao, signaling her to come over. This kind of thing was best discussed between girls, and he'd let Xiaoxiao talk to her a little. Xiaoxiao saw that Lin Yi was calling her and walked over. What's wrong? Where's Ziyu? Can I ask you something? Have you ever, touched yourself? Lin Yi lowered his voice and whispered into Xiaoxiao's ear. What are you doing? Xiaoxiao blushed as she looked at Lin Yi weirdly. But the two were a couple now, so Xiaoxiao didn't feel too embarrassed. She just didn't understand why Lin Yi would ask this all of a sudden. Ziyu bought a vibrator and I found out. She's crying on the bed now, can you go talk to her? Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't ask if Xiaoxiao had done it or not. It'd be too ambiguous if he did. Xiaoxiao blinked, finding it funny. Why are you going through her stuff? You're afraid she's hiding drugs or something, right? Lin Yi shrugged. I'll leave it to you. All right. Xiaoxiao nodded and walked into Ziyu's room. Ziyu felt so wronged. As the big sis, she hadn't cried in a long time, but today, she couldn't hold it in anymore. Lin Yi was too much of a bully. This was a girl's privacy, how could he just say it like that? How shameless. Ziyu? Xiaoxiao looked at the sobbing Ziyu, buried her head in the cup, smiling as she walked over and sat beside her. HM? Xiaoxiao sis? Ziyu didn't expect it to be Xiaoxiao. She raised her head, embarrassed, wiping her tears. Why you here? Ziyu had a good impression of Xiaoxiao. They hadn't talked much, but Xiaoxiao was much better than that tyrant Lin. She didn't know how that tyrant found such a gentle and cute girlfriend. Was Xiaoxiao gentle and cute? Ziyu just didn't see the other side of Xiaoxiao. Why were you crying? Where's that knife-wielding Ziyu? Xiaoxiao smiled. Xiaoxiao sis, you're making fun of me too. Ziyu was on the verge of breaking down. As for the strong Ziyu from before, she could go to hell. I'm not making fun of you, but I heard what happened. Isn't it just a vibrator? I've used it before, it's no big deal. Xiaoxiao started bullshitting. She hadn't actually used it before, not even daring to think about love. She didn't even have someone to fantasize about, much less touching herself. But after getting together with Lin Yi, she had done it a few times recently. It was just that she only used her hands, not anything like a vibrator. Oh, You have one too? Ziyu paused, interested. You're not lying to me? Of course not. Xiaoxiao started talking to Ziyu. She was a few years older than Ziyu, after all, and her mindset was different from Ziyu's. She just told her about the pros and cons and things to pay attention to, and it helped Ziyu get over it. As for what they talked about, only the two of them knew. But when Xiaoxiao brought Ziyu out of the room, Ziyu wasn't crying anymore. She had a shy smile on her face. It's about time, Xianxia should go back. Ziyu, stay at home and study. I'll come check next week. Xiaoxiao said to Ziyu. Chapter 1270. Chapter 1268. Testing Grandpa Zhu, but she wasn't that nice to her guardian, Lin. She said goodbye to Lin Yi unwillingly, thinking that it would be best if they never met again. Lin Yi didn't bother with the kid either. He smiled and brought Xianxia and Xiaoxiao out of Ziyu's house. Ziyu looked at Lin Yi's back and humphed. She threw the newspaper on the ground and started stomping on it. I'll stomp you to death. I'll stomp you to death. I'm so pissed. Lin Yi naturally didn't know that Ziyu thought he was the one stomping on the newspaper. After leaving Ziyu's house, Lin Yi went to a pharmacy and bought some medicine before bringing Xianxia to her house with Xiaoxiao. Xianxia's house was a place Lin Yi came to last time, but he didn't go upstairs. This time, Lin Yi pretended to ask casually, where's that old man with you last time at the beach? He didn't get crippled by Xie Yufeng, did he? How's that possible? Xianxia was about to say that Grandpa Zhu was really strong, teaching Xie Yufeng a lesson after Lin Yi left. But she didn't get to finish before she was interrupted. At this moment, Grandpa Zhu had already appeared in the corridor. He coughed twice and said with a smile, Xiaoxi is back? Psst. Why are you still concerned about the fight I had with someone at the beach? I'm an old man, but I'm not heavily injured. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. Xianxia paused, not knowing why Grandpa Zhu would suddenly appear and interrupt her. But since Grandpa Zhu said that, Xianxia didn't say anything else. She remembered that Grandpa Zhu told her to hide the fact that he knew Kung Fu, but as far as she was concerned, Lin Yi was a good person, her mother's savior. It shouldn't be a big deal to tell him. But since Grandpa Zhu didn't want to, she could only give up. After all, in her eyes, Grandpa Zhu was a good person worthy of respect. All these years he had taken care of her and her mother, so she still had to listen to Grandpa Zhu. Oh, that's good. But I heard that Xie Yufeng was heavily injured. I wonder who helped you out? Lin Yi looked at Grandpa Zhu with a smile that wasn't a smile. Seriously injured by someone? It can't be, right? Could it be that someone saw me being bullied that day and helped me? But I was scared that day and left in a hurry, so I didn't see what happened behind me. Grandpa Zhu pushed all the blame away. I see. Lin Yi nodded and looked at Grandpa Zhu. I heard your surname is Zhu? Yes, what's the matter? Grandpa Zhu's heart skipped a beat and he asked calmly. It's nothing. This surname is quite rare. I have met someone with the surname Zhu. I wonder how he is related to you? Lin Yi asked calmly. The world is big, there are many people with the same surname. Naturally, it has nothing to do with me. Grandpa Zhu shook his head. I haven't even told you who that person is, and you already know it has nothing to do with you? Lin Yi asked. Young man, you must be joking. I am a lonely old man with no family left. Of course, I wouldn't have anything to do with others. Grandpa Zhu smiled. I see. Lin Yi nodded. If that's the case, then I won't disturb you any longer. I'm going to Xi's house to treat her mother. Young man, thank you. Grandpa Zhu nodded. Xianxia was confused by the conversation between Lin Yi and Grandpa Zhu. She naturally didn't know that it was Lin Yi's test. She thought that Lin Yi and Grandpa Zhu got along well, so she didn't think much about it. If Lin Yi couldn't see through Grandpa Zhu's strength and was only suspicious, then he wouldn't have gotten any accurate information from the previous test. After all, there were no flaws in Grandpa Zhu's words. However, Lin Yi wasn't just suspicious, but he was sure that there was something wrong with this Grandpa Zhu. The previous few words made Lin Yi even more certain that there was something wrong with this Grandpa Zhu. Grandpa Zhu went downstairs. When Lin Yi and the others entered Xianxia's house, a gloomy look flashed across his eyes. Little bastard, you ruined my plans. You actually have doubts about me? Humph, looks like I have to tell the master about this. Grandpa Zhu gritted his teeth and roared. Testing me? I don't think you'll find anything. The bridges I've crossed are more than the roads you've walked. After scolding Lin Yi, Grandpa Zhu found a place with no one and made a phone call. Elder Zhu, why are you calling me at this time? Didn't I tell you? Don't call me if there's nothing important. If Jean finds out, I'm afraid she'll cause trouble again. On the other side of the phone, it was a man's gloomy voice. That woman, you haven't killed her yet? She's just a slut. How can she die so slowly? I'm sorry, young master. The plan was about to succeed, but it was ruined by that brat, Lin. You know that brat, Lin, he'll ruin everything. Grandpa Zhu said with some annoyance. That woman was about to die of cancer, but Lin Yi cured her. If it wasn't for the master wanting Xiaoxi, I wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to give that woman cancer in order to cultivate a relationship with her. I would have killed her with one slap. Xiaoxi has been trained by you since she was young. She's a good cultivation vessel. She'll be a bargaining chip for us to rope in other families. The man didn't seem to see Xianxia as his own flesh and blood at all. He only saw her as a bargaining chip. But thinking about it, the man was a playboy when he was young, he went around flirting, it was normal for him to have a few bastards outside. It's just that Xiaoxi's mother was a hotel attendant, her status was so low that the man only saw her as a slut. I understand, but that woman? Grandpa Zhu said with some difficulty. With Lin Yi here, I can't do anything. I'll talk to my father about this. Don't worry about him for now, just don't let him find out. The man ordered. Yes, young master. Grandpa Zhu nodded. Mother Chen's complexion was good today, much better than before. It could be seen that she was definitely a first-class beauty when she was young, but the vicissitudes of time made her a little haggard. But after a period of continuous medication, Mother Chen's change was still very obvious. Chapter 1271. There's something wrong with the water. Auntie Chen, just call me Lil E. No need to call me Mr. Lin. Lin smiled. Looks like you're recovering well, exceeding my expectations. Now we can move on to the next treatment. Then I won't hold back, I'll call you Lil E. Mrs. Chen smiled. Thank you, if it weren't for your medicine, I wouldn't be able to recover this fast. Go get some tea for the guests. What are you standing here for? Okay, Mom. She had gotten a lot closer with Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao this afternoon. She forgot to pour them tea when she got home, only remembering after her mother reminded her. No need, we don't drink tea. Lin Yi waved his hand. I just came to check on your recovery, Auntie Chen. I'm relieved now, Xiaoxiao and I should go. You're not in a hurry, right? Why don't we eat here tonight? Mrs. Chen quickly asked Lin Yi to stay. Sure, let's eat together then. Lin Yi nodded, he didn't have much to do tonight anyway. He just wanted to keep Xiaoxiao company. Thinking about it, if he didn't return and stayed outside to accompany Xiaoxiao, the young miss wouldn't say anything. It was fine as long as Xiaoxiao was happy. Xiaoxiao was very happy too. She saw an optimistic and unyielding spirit in Xianxia, and that made her feel much better. That's great, I'll go cook with she in the kitchen. Lin Yi, you and Xiaoxiao can watch TV in the living room? Mrs. Chen was very happy that Lin Yi agreed. No need, we'll go help too. It'll be faster, Lin Yi smiled. Don't look down on me, I'm a master chef. Lin Yi honey cooks really well. Xiaoxiao added. Mrs. Chen wanted to reject them, but after hearing what Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao said, she had no choice but to let Lin Yi go to the kitchen. She was washing the vegetables, Mrs. Chen was cutting the meat, and Xiaoxiao was helping her. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had nothing to do. This is the water for washing vegetables. Lin Yi's gaze suddenly focused on the vegetable bowl in front of Xianxia. What's wrong with water? Big brother Lin Yi? Xianxia was confused. Let me see. Lin Yi squeezed through, and Xianxia was pushed to the side. Lin Yi's body bumped into Xianxia, making her blush a little. But when she peeked at Lin Yi, it seemed like he didn't notice it at all. Xianxia secretly let out a sigh of relief. How could Lin Yi know what this child was thinking? It was one thing for Ziyu to have some thoughts, since she used to be a gangster. But a good girl like Xianxia had thoughts too? Although Xianxia was a good girl, she was still in puberty. She had some fantasies about the opposite sex. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had helped her family so much that it was impossible for Qin Shi to not have feelings for him. It was just a hazy feeling, and Qin Shi hid it in her heart, not daring to show it. She was afraid that Xiaoxiao would find out and think that she was trying to seduce her boyfriend. If that happened, Qin Shi would be too ashamed to show her face. Where did this water come from? Lin Yi dipped his finger in the water and put it in his mouth. It's tap water, is there a problem? Chen Shi was pulled back from her thoughts by Lin Yi's question, and after a slight pause, she quickly replied. Tap water? Lin Yi frowned. He turned on the tap water and put a few drops in it. What's wrong? Is there a problem with the tap water? Mrs. Chen saw Lin Yi studying the tap water and quickly walked over. Is the water quality bad? It's like this in the old city, it's already connected to the water purifier. Water purifier? Lin Yi lowered his body and found a water purifier under the cabinet. Lin Yi didn't say anything and closed the water valve, then removed the water purifier. Lin Yi's action made Qin Shi and Mrs. Chen stunned. If it was someone else doing this, then Mrs. Chen would definitely stop it. How could you just remove someone else's water heater? However, it was Lin Yi who did it, so there must be a reason, so Mrs. Chen didn't ask much. Where did you buy this water purifier? After Lin Yi removed the water purifier, he carefully checked the water purifier and asked. This water purifier wasn't bought, it was picked up by Grandpa Zhu when he was picking up junk. After he helped to replace the filter, he helped us install it. What's wrong, Lin Yi Gidge, is there a problem? Chen Shi asked curiously. Nothing, don't use this water purifier, it's a bit dirty. Lin Yi frowned. Grandpa Zhu again? Why him again? Could it be that Grandpa Zhu caused Mrs. Chen's cancer? In this water purifier, there was a substance that would cause cancer if taken for a long time, but Lin Yi didn't know why Qin Shi didn't get cancer. Was it because she was young and had a strong immune system? Or did she take the antidote before? In short, Mrs. Chen's cancer wasn't an accident, it was caused by someone. After removing the water purifier, Lin Yi reconnected the tap water. This time, there was no problem. Lin Yi's brows furrowed deeper and deeper, and the doubts in his heart grew bigger and bigger. Before, when Lin Yi saw Grandpa Zhu beside Qin Shi, he felt it was strange, but Grandpa Zhu didn't seem to have any bad intentions towards Qin Shi. Lin Yi was just curious why a peak late-phase mystic class master would be beside Qin Shi. But now, Lin Yi could be sure that this Grandpa Zhu didn't have any good intentions. He actually poisoned the water purifier. The purpose was to give Mrs. Chen cancer. But Lin Yi didn't understand. Why would a peak late-phase mystic class master use such a strenuous method to harm Qin Shi and her mother? Couldn't he just kill them? Could it be that he had some other purpose? Of course, Lin Yi could only think about it in his heart, he wouldn't say it out loud. For Qin Shi and her mother, Lin Yi was only familiar with them, not close. Lin Yi couldn't just blame Grandpa Zhu. Now, it seemed that Qin Shi and Grandpa Zhu's relationship was very good. If he said it out loud, Qin Shi might not believe him. The water purifier isn't clean? Then we can't use it anymore. Seems like the things we picked up aren't reliable. Mrs. Chen didn't think too much. After all, we aren't professionals. Since Lil Yi found the problem, then we don't need it anymore. Chapter 1272. Grandpa Zhu's goal? All right. Mother Chen naturally believed what Lin Yi said. Lin Yi was a doctor. How could a doctor's words be false? After dinner at Qin Shi's house, Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao said their goodbyes. Mrs. Chen and Qin Shi sent Lin Yi off warmly, telling Lin Yi to come visit again when he was free. Lin Yi agreed with a smile. After leaving Qin Shi's house, the smile on Lin Yi's face suddenly disappeared, becoming very gloomy. Lin Yi, honey, what's wrong? Xiaoxiao asked, noticing Lin Yi's weird expression. Mrs. Chen's cancer is man-made. There's something wrong with that water purifier. Lin Yi didn't need to hide it from Xiaoxiao. But there's something wrong with that water purifier. I know, it's that Grandpa Zhu. Xiaoxiao wasn't an idiot. Lin Yi had said that there was something wrong with that Grandpa Zhu back at the seaside, and Lin Yi had tested her again today. Naturally, Xiaoxiao knew that Lin Yi was suspecting Grandpa Zhu. It's him. I just can't figure out what his purpose is. A peak late phase mystic class master, did he have nothing better to do? Poison a single mother? Is he out of his mind, or was it really unintentional? Because Xianxia also said that the water purifier was picked up by Grandpa Zhu when he was picking up junk, but after changing the filter, it continued to be used. As for whether there were other problems in the water purifier, they were not professionals, so naturally they couldn't tell. Then why is Xianxia fine? Xiao quickly thought of Xianxia. That's what I'm curious about. Did Xianxia take the antidote, or is her resistance stronger? Lin Yi shook his head and said, the harmful substances in the water purifier can't cause cancer in a day. This is a long-term process. Eating it for a long time will cause cancer, so I'm surprised that Xianxia is fine. Maybe she's young, and she doesn't eat at home often? Is that why? Xiao asked. It's possible, but that Grandpa Zhu is very suspicious. Lin Yi said, but I don't know what he's planning, so I can only take it one step at a time and come to see Xianxia often. And that Grandpa Zhu, I feel uncomfortable just looking at him. Xiao said, we can't let him hurt Xianxia. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the fundraiser. Before the fundraiser, there was a singing competition. After the preliminary and semifinals, the school had selected the best soloists and choirs. Today, the finals would be held on the school's sports field. Because of the participation of members of the public, in order to ensure the safety of the students and the smooth progress of the donation event, the school's leaders had already notified the police, and early this morning, Lingshan brought a group of police officers to the school to maintain order. Yufeng wasn't planning on donating at the event, but he didn't think that Lingshan would bring a team to maintain order in the school. He had to do something. Lingshan, I didn't think you'd come too. Yufeng smiled as he walked over to greet Lingshan. Sorry, I'm on official business right now. I don't have time to chat with you. Please help yourself. Lingshan looked at Yufeng, not planning on talking to him at all. Lingshan was annoyed to death with Yufeng, and she didn't think that he'd come over to talk to her today. The fundraiser hasn't started yet, right? Miss Song, don't tell me that you don't even have time to talk? Yufeng didn't seem to understand the meaning behind Lingshan's words at all as he continued to stand there. Since it hasn't started yet, shouldn't Mr. Yu go prepare? Why don't you contribute to charity later? You're not planning on being stingy, are you? Lingshan didn't like Yufeng, but she didn't mind him donating a sum of money to her. I've actually prepared for it. I'm very supportive of charity. I didn't think that Miss Song was a supporter of charity as well. Yufeng smiled, thinking how much should he donate? Since Lingshan liked people with love, naturally he should donate more. If he donated too little, Lingshan would think that he was stingy, but if he donated too much, Yufeng wouldn't be satisfied. Why should he just waste his money like that? If it weren't for Lingshan, he wouldn't even donate a single cent. Seeing Yufeng walk over to Lingshan, Lin Yi frowned. Did this guy know Lingshan? Lin Yi didn't know who Yufeng was, and he didn't know about the marriage between House Yu and House Song. Lingshan didn't tell Lin Yi because Lin Yi didn't have any feelings for her. She didn't want to embarrass herself and let Lin Yi push her to Yufeng. Huai Juan, on the other hand, thought that Lin Yi already knew about this when he was on the phone with Lin Yi, so he didn't bring it up. Lin Yi wasn't planning on letting House Yu go, so why would he bring up Lin Yi's relationship with Lingshan and House Yu? It would make him look like a busybody. So when Lin Yi saw Yufeng talking to Lingshan, he was suspicious. Yufeng, on the other hand, didn't know about the relationship between Lin Yi and Lingshan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be talking to Lingshan in front of Lin Yi. He didn't know that his actions had exposed his identity. Soon, the finals of the singing competition began. Tang Yun and Meng Yao walked up the stage in their best outfits. The two were about the same height, and their beauty levels were about the same as well. The moment they got on stage, it caused a commotion. Tang Yun was already taken, and Meng Yao was the daughter of a rich family. Although the boys knew that their chances weren't high, it didn't stop them from loving beauty. Even if they couldn't take it for themselves, they could at least take a look, right? The people who were invited to attend the fundraising event also began to discuss the background of the two girls. Keeping students as mistresses wasn't a secret among the rich. Meng Yao and Tang Yun, these two absolute beauties, attracted the attention of the rich. It wasn't a surprise. The two of them were already beautiful, and with makeup, they were even more beautiful. It would be strange if these people weren't tempted. However, after knowing that Meng Yao was Peng Zhan's daughter, they shifted their attention to Tang Yun. Chapter 1273. Xie Yufeng's tragedy again, but Tang Yun was different. No one knew who she was, so in everyone's eyes, she was just a commoner school beauty. But in reality, Tang Yun was indeed a commoner school beauty. And so, some people started to be tempted, and Fatty Shen was one of them. Fatty Shen came from a mining background. There were a lot of mines near Songshan City. Fatty Shen had made a lot of money in the past few years. He was a real rich man. After he had money, he began to enjoy life. He had played with countless famous models and small celebrities. But after he got tired of playing with them, Fatty Shen was more inclined to play with young and pure girls like Duaning. After Fatty Shen memorized Tang Yun's name, his eyes never left Tang Yun's body. The more he looked, the more he drooled. Boss, so, how much do you think this girl Tang Yun would cost? Fatty Shen looked at Zhou Tiandi lecherously. Fatty Shen also had some underworld background. These days, if a miner didn't have any underworld background, he would definitely be bullied and wouldn't be able to control the situation. So, in order to get closer to Zhou Tiandi, Fatty Shen purposely sat beside him to get closer to him. What do you mean how much? Zhou Tiandi was watching a performance. Today, he heard that Hayashi Lin's girlfriend was hosting a charity event, so he ran to the school to show his support. Ever since his son said that he had a relationship with Lin Yi, Zhou Tiandi was very happy. He didn't have to be afraid anymore, and he had the energy to gamble and pick up girls. Today was the perfect opportunity to please Lin Yi, so naturally he wouldn't let it go. Tang Yun, that girl is so pretty, with big breasts and a round butt. Tiske, if I could touch it, it would be so good. Boss, so, what do you think if I get her and play 3P? Fatty Shen squinted his eyes and said, What? 3P? I'll play your mom. Zhou Tiandi jumped up, raised his arm, and gave Fatty Shen a big slap. Motherfucker, are you trying to kill me? I don't know you. You bastard, why don't you go die? Zhou Tiandi was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. It wasn't easy for her to mend her relationship with Hayashi Lin, but this guy actually suggested that she play Lin Yi's wife with him? Don't you want to die? If the omnipotent Hayashi Lin were to hear this and suspect him, then he would really be out of luck. In the past, Zhou Tiandi had a good impression of Fatty Shen. Fatty Shen was smart and knew how to do things. He knew how to be filial to Zhou Tiandi, so he had a good impression of him. But today, he saw that this guy was a fool. Zhou Tiandi quickly drew a line between them. Zhou boss, why did you hit me? Fatty Shen was stunned by Zhou Tiandi's sudden attack. I know, Zhou boss, you are interested in Tang Yun, right? Don't worry, I won't fight with you, you can have her for yourself. Fatty Shen's voice wasn't soft, and when Zhou Tiandi was beating up people, he made a lot of noise. Many people were looking at him, so Fatty Shen's words were heard by them. Zhou Tiandi almost exploded when he heard Fatty Shen's words. Your mother? Do you want to kill me first? When did I fall in love with Tang Yun? Is she someone I can fall in love with? She is Hayashi Lin's wife. I would rather stab my eyes blind than look at her. I like your mother. Zhou Tiandi kicked Fatty Shen's body. I am a decent person, how can I fall in love with someone else? Tang Yun is like a goddess. Do you think I am worthy? Not to mention you, who is worse than a pig or a dog? Zhou Tiandi kicked Fatty Shen's body. Although Fatty Shen's body was fat, he didn't dare to fight back. He didn't know why Zhou Tiandi was beating him like crazy. However, gradually, Fatty Shen understood something. From Zhou Tiandi's words, could it be that Tang Yun was someone with a powerful background? Following the conflict, Song Lingshan quickly walked over. Mr. Zhou, what are you doing? How can you hit people so casually? If you don't want to participate in the charity event, you can choose to leave. Song Lingshan warned. Officer Song, we are just playing around. If you don't believe me, you can ask Fatty Shen, right? Zhou Tiandi saw that Song Lingshan had come, so he could only stop. Although he hated Fatty Shen, he couldn't just leave before the charity event started. Wouldn't it be a waste of his effort? Yeah, we are just playing around. Fatty Shen said with his mouth leaking air. No matter how wronged he was, he didn't dare to say anything. Although he was strong, compared to Zhou Tiandi, he was still far from it. "You old bastard, how dare you? Get out of my sight." Xie Yufeng saw that Song Lingshan had come to stop the fight between Zhou Tiandi and Fatishan, so he came to save the damsel in distress. Xie Yufeng only wanted to show off in front of Song Lingshan, so he didn't think much and ran over, blocking in front of Song Lingshan. Zhou Tiandi and Fatishan didn't dare to do anything to Song Lingshan, but Fatishan wouldn't be polite to this bastard who came out of nowhere. He had been kicked by Zhou Tiandi before, and he had a stomach full of anger. Now that someone came to help him vent his anger, he naturally wouldn't let him go so easily. "Where did you come from, kid? Who are you telling to get out of my sight? We are just playing around, what does that have to do with you?" Fatishan looked at Xie Yufeng and asked coldly. "You fatty, you're not happy?" Xie Yufeng didn't want to show any weakness in front of Song Lingshan. Seeing that Fatishan dared to talk back to him, he was furious. "You are here to donate money, we welcome you, but if you want to fuck us, don't blame me for being rude." Slap. Fatishan slapped Xie Yufeng's face. "Who do you think you are? What are you doing here?" "Officer Song, there is an idiot here, are you going to do something about it? You dare hit me?" Xie Yufeng was furious. He was a mystic, the young master of House Yu, and he was slapped in the face by a fatty? If he didn't kill him, it would be a waste of his strength. But the next moment, Xie Yufeng froze. This wasn't right, they were in school. Not outside of school. In school, in front of Linny, he had been hiding his strength, he couldn't reveal it. Before, because of Song Lingshan, Xie Yufeng subconsciously forgot about this, thinking that he was the young master of House Yu, not the Xie Yufeng in school. But now, he suddenly remembered that he was in school. Chapter 1274. "So what if I hit you? Who do you think you are? How dare you talk nonsense in front of me, Fatishan?" Fatishan sent another slap at Yufeng's face. Yufeng was shocked and angry, but there was nothing he could do. He pointed at Fatishan. "You," he said the word, "you," 3 times, but didn't do anything else. Evidently, Yufeng didn't dare to act rashly. "Officer Song, look at this. This is such a busybody. Why didn't you take her away? I was sparring with Boss Zhou, learning from each other. What does this have to do with him? Is he an intern from your police station?" Fatishan looked at Lingshan and pushed all the responsibility of hitting the man away. Lingshan didn't know what to do. She didn't like Xie Yufeng in the first place, and she had no intention of protecting him. Since Fatishan had said so, Lingshan nodded and said, "Master Yu, let the police handle this. You should focus on preparing for the donation." Xie Yufeng looked at Fatishan coldly and thought to himself, "Don't let me see you again, or else I will beat you into a cripple." Yufeng humphed coldly and left. Staying here would only make things awkward. "If you two want to spar, go outside and spar. Here, donate." "Boss Zhou and Boss Shin, you two are so active. Do you want to donate more money?" Lingshan said. "Of course. Officer Song, I was going to donate even if you didn't say anything. I'm going to donate 500,000. Tiandi said generously. Lingshan couldn't help but be taken aback. She said all that just to make Tiandi and Fatishan bleed, but from what she saw, these mafia bosses would at most donate 10 or 20,000. She didn't expect Tiandi to donate 500,000 all at once. Lingshan froze. She had to re-evaluate her impression of Tiandi. Did this guy turn over a new leaf? And he's become passionate about charity and public welfare? That would be a blessing for Songshan. Fatishan was also stunned. He didn't think that Zhou Tiandi would be so generous to donate 500,000. He came here just to join in the fun. He planned to donate 10 or 20,000, but since Zhou Tiandi said so, Fatishan didn't want to donate too little. He said, "I'm also going to donate 100,000. Lingshan's face was a little weird. She'd wanted to find an excuse to kick these two out, but it seemed like it was better to keep them around. Since these two were so compassionate and had decided to donate so much money, Lingshan naturally wouldn't let them go. Looks like the two bosses are quite compassionate. I won't disturb you then, you guys can continue." Lingshan nodded and left. Donating money was fine, sparring if you wanted to. After sitting down, Fatishan asked, "Boss Zhou, what happened to you just now? What did I say wrong? Humph. You almost got me killed. Thank goodness I made myself clear in time and Hayashi Lin didn't blame me, otherwise I would have died because of you. Tiandi humphed coldly. Hayashi Lin? Who is that? Fatty Shen froze. In Songshan, there aren't many people that I, Zhou Tiandi, am afraid of. I'm just giving him some face, there's no need to be afraid. But there's one person I'm afraid of, and that's Lin, Hayashi Lin. Tiandi said, this person is too scary. In Songshan, this person is not someone you can offend. Fatty Shen froze. Lin? I've never heard of him? You don't need to have heard of him. At your level, you won't be able to come into contact with such a powerful person. But remember, those two girls on the stage don't have any bad intentions, or you will die a horrible death. You will really die, don't think that I'm just trying to scare you. Tiandi said seriously. I understand. Fatty Shen quickly nodded. No matter what, he remembered Tiandi's words. In the future, if he met any Lin Yi or Hayashi Lin, he would try to avoid them as much as possible. If even Tiandi was afraid of them, then they were definitely not easy to get along with. The fundraising event had begun. The voting power was just to give these celebrities a sense of balance, but in reality, they didn't get any substantial benefits. Thank you all for your enthusiastic participation. The top 10 of the singing competition has been decided. Now, let's welcome director Wang Jifeng to announce the winners. Tang Yun didn't have stage fright after a short period of time, but when she saw director Wang Jifeng walking over, she felt that life was really strange. The scene where she accidentally poured the bucket on Wang Jifeng was still vivid in her mind. Now, she was the host, and her relationship with Wang Jifeng wasn't bad either. Tang Yun didn't think that there would be a day where she would become the center of attention in school. In fact, who didn't want to be the center of attention? In the past, Tang Yun was afraid. She didn't have a sense of security. She was afraid that her beauty would bring her trouble, so she had to keep a low profile. Even so, it still caused some unnecessary trouble. But now that she was with Lin Yi, no matter how high profile she was, no one would dare to do anything to her. The guest seats were very close to the tea stage, and Tiandi and Fatty Shen were sitting at the very front. How could Tang Yun not hear their conversation? Seeing Tiandi beat up Fatty Shen, Tang Yun thought it was funny. But the truth was, these bad people were afraid of Lin Yi, and she benefited a lot from it. The list of winners was read out. The top 10 winners received a certificate and prize money from Wang Jifeng. However, because it was a fundraising event, the winner of the first place announced on the spot that he would donate his prize money to the children of the orphanage. With the first winner taking the lead, the other winners also generously donated their prize money. Among them, there was a rich student who donated an extra 2,000 yuan, which received a warm applause. After this process, it was time for the free donation. First, it was the students and teachers who donated, and finally, it was the celebrities who donated. Xie Yufeng didn't donate with the students because he wanted to be in the limelight. He waited until Meng Yao announced that the celebrities would donate, and then he stood up. Originally, Tiandi wanted to be the first to stand up. He was here to support Lin Yi, so he wanted to show his initiative and enthusiasm. But he didn't expect that Xie Yufeng would take the initiative. Chapter 1275. Xie Yufeng was pissed. Do I have to queue up to donate? Xie Yufeng wanted to be the first to donate and leave a good impression on Lingshan, but he didn't expect to make a fool out of himself. Fatty Shen ruined his plan again. At this time, the students who didn't know what was going on were discussing among themselves. Isn't Xie Yufeng a student? Why is he donating with people from the society? A student said. That's right. Is he trying to show off that he's rich and that he's a celebrity? Another student said. Xie Yufeng's face turned ugly. He wanted to show off, but he didn't expect it to turn out like this. Xie Yufeng looked at Fatty Shen with hatred. Forget it, Fatty Shen. Let someone else donate first. Everyone is giving their love, so it doesn't matter who donates first. Zhou Tiandi didn't rush to donate anymore. Since something like this happened and the young man was already on the stage, if he rushed to donate first, then Lin Yi would see that he was trying to flatter Lin. It would be a bit pretentious, so he might as well let him go first. You're lucky you donate first. Fatty Shen let go of Xie Yufeng and said. Xie Yufeng's face was full of resentment. What was going on? He just donated and he got himself into trouble. Donating was supposed to be a very glorious thing, and Xie Yufeng wanted to use this opportunity to show off his style, but now there was a fatty standing next to him, as if he was supervising him, urging him to hurry up. This made Xie Yufeng go crazy. For the orphans of the orphanage to have a good life, I've decided to donate 200,000. Xie Yufeng walked up to the stage proudly and said to Tang Yun and Meng Yao. Thank you for your support, Xie Yufeng. Tang Yun smiled sweetly and nodded to Xie Yufeng. Although she didn't like this Xie Yufeng, Tang Yun was the host, and Xie Yufeng was the donor. She couldn't look at him with emotion. Originally, Xie Yufeng wanted to take the microphone and say a few words. He had donated 200,000, and from Xie Yufeng's point of view, 200,000 was the highest amount that the arena had ever donated. He wanted to show off in front of Lingshan, but just as he was about to ask Tang Yun for the microphone, he heard Fatty Shen say, 200,000 and you still want to speak? Hurry up and go down. Don't waste any more time. Boss So is going to donate 500,000 yuan later. Fatty Shen's voice was very loud, and it was heard through the microphone in Tang Yun's hand. It made all the students present burst into laughter. Yufeng felt his face heated. This was the most embarrassing moment he'd ever been in his entire life. The last few times he'd been embarrassed, Lin had seen it, but it was only in a small area. Most people didn't see it, but today, not only did he do it in front of the whole school, he did it in front of Lingshan. Yufeng felt that if he didn't say anything, he'd be a coward. However, when he looked at the tall and sturdy Fatty Shen, he felt that if he didn't use his qi, he wouldn't be his opponent. So, Xie Yufeng could only take a step back and vent his anger on Tang Yun. Why didn't you turn off the microphone? Do you want to die? Yufeng's voice went through the microphone in Tang Yun's hand, and it spread to the whole school. Instantly, the whole school was in an uproar. Although some people thought that Yufeng's actions were funny, they only felt that it was funny. But now, they looked down on Yufeng. Why was this person so uncultured? Scolding the MC? What did it have to do with the MC? Is this kid crazy? Is he crazy? Why is he acting like a mad dog? He made a fool of himself, and now he's scolding others? Student A asked curiously. Hey, you can't tell, right? How is he crazy? He's very smart. He's bullying the weak and afraid of the strong. He didn't dare to do anything to that fatty, so he started scolding the MC. Student B explained. But this MC, isn't she Lin Yi's girlfriend? This Xie Yufeng is going to be unlucky. Student C said sympathetically. As expected, they were right. From the moment Tang Yun was scolded to the moment Lin Yi jumped on the stage, Lin Yi kicked Yufeng's chest and kicked him off the stage. After that, Lin Yi didn't stop. He didn't even say anything to Tang Yun, and he went back to his seat. This was the first time Lin Yi had a direct conflict with Yufeng in a public place. Before, Lin Yi didn't know Yufeng's background, and Yufeng didn't do anything that crossed Lin Yi's bottom line, so Lin Yi didn't do anything to him. He let him stay in the school, but today, Yufeng's scolding made Lin Yi angry. Your wife is the one. Even if she is, she's the only one who's flirting with me. And so, Lin Yi didn't hold back and kicked Yufeng off the stage. Although Lin Yi didn't know how Yufeng broke through and became a mystic mid-phase in just a few days, Lin Yi was already a mystic mid-phase peak. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of him. If he wanted to fight, then fight. Lin Yi couldn't kill him. Yufeng didn't think that Lin Yi would kick him off the stage like this. Yufeng froze. But then he realized that the MC on the stage was Lin Yi's girlfriend. He didn't know what to say and scolded her, and now Lin Yi was here for revenge? Yufeng fell off the stage and he had a murderous urge. He decided to discuss it with his father tonight. He wanted to kill Lin Yi. Of course, in school, in front of everyone, especially in front of Lingshan, Yufeng had no choice but to hold it in for now. Even if he was a disciple of House Yu, killing someone in school was enough to cause him trouble. Yufeng stood up gloomily, but he didn't have the face to stay in school anymore. He walked out of the school. 200,000, not only did he not get anything good, but he also got himself a bad name. Seeing Yufeng leave the school with his tail between his legs, The students mocked him, and some cursed him. None of them had anything good to say. The conflict between Lin Yi and Xie Yufeng happened in a very short period of time, so it didn't cause too much of a commotion. With Yufeng's gloomy departure, everyone's attention returned to the event. Chapter 1276. Thank you, Xie Yufeng, for the 200,000 donation. I would like to thank him on behalf of the orphanage. Meng Yao pulled back the atmosphere of the event with a smile, as if she didn't see Yufeng leaving with his tail between his legs. Next, Zhou Tiandi went on stage, representing Tiandi Entertainment Group, and donated 500,000 to the orphanage. The audience cheered for him. Compared to Xie Yufeng's 200,000, Zhou Tiandi's donation was a huge amount. Thank you, Chairman Zhou. Tang Yun knew that he was Zhou Ruoming's father, but thinking about how respectful Zhou Ruoming was to her now, her resentment was gone. Tang Yun even felt grateful to Zhou Ruoming. If he didn't bully her, she wouldn't be in contact with Lin Yi. In the end, he was her matchmaker. No need to thank me, it's our responsibility to help the orphanage. Madam Tang Yun is hosting this event, so I'm willing to pay for it. Zhou Tiandi said this to Lin Yi. It was obvious that he was supporting Tang Yun. If it weren't for Lin Yi, he wouldn't have donated so much money. I would like to thank Chairman Zhou again. Tang Yun smiled. She wasn't stupid, and naturally understood what Zhou Tiandi meant. Zhou Tiandi donated and left the stage happily. Today's mission was complete. Next, many famous local entrepreneurs also went on stage, but the amount wasn't as much as Zhou Tiandi. It ranged from 10,000 to 50,000, but it wasn't a huge amount. This was within Tang Yun and Ming Yao's expectations. After all, this was just a small charity event organized by the school. It was already good enough that these people were willing to donate because of Peng Zhan. Only Zhou Tiandi donated because of Lin. Of course, Lin Yi didn't inform Fatty Lai. Lin Yi didn't want to do this, so Fatty Lai could just use the name of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company to donate to the orphanage. He didn't need to go through the school's event. Doing good deeds was not for others to see, and Lin Yi did not want to gain any false reputation. Now, let's enter the next segment of the event, the auction. Tang Yun announced the next segment after calculating the total amount of donations. The items in this auction are all donated by everyone, and the proceeds will be donated to the orphanage. Meng Yao might have said that, but most of the auction items were donated by Meng Yao, and some were taken out by Peng Zhan. These were the things that the tycoons cared about the most. As the richest man in Songshan, Peng Zhan must have a lot of treasures in his house. The previous donations were just an appetizer. The real main course was this auction. Expensive calligraphy and paintings as well as rare treasures were the favorites of these celebrities. The first auction item is a painting donated by the principal, Ding Binggong. It was created by Ding Binggong, and everyone knows about his reputation. Tang Yun introduced the first auction item. Since this wasn't a formal auction, and there were no big screens or picture books, Tang Yun could only say it out loud. Yu Shu and Xiao Xiao were in charge of displaying the items. Ding Binggong was a painter, and he wasn't that famous in the country, but he was a famous person in the academic world. His paintings were quite good, and many people in Songshan sought after them. Of course, the price wasn't very high, either. The most expensive one sold for 50,000, and that was an award-winning work. The painting that was being auctioned right now, although it was painstakingly drawn, wasn't worth as much as an award-winning work. 2,000. The starting price was 1,000, and soon, someone raised the price to 2,000. 3,000. The price continued to rise until it reached 8,000, and it was taken by an entrepreneur. Of course, 8,000 was already enough to satisfy Ding Binggong. The price of his paintings was maintained at around 5,000, and 8,000 was already a high price. The following items were some birthday gifts Meng Yao received, some expensive handicrafts from Peng Zhan, and some donated by Yushu. Of course, there were donations from normal students and teachers as well, but most of them weren't worth much. 1,800 was already a lot. Only Ming Yao's root carvings and Peng Zhan's inkstone were sold at a high price. Obviously, these celebrities at the scene were also people who knew what was good and what was valuable. They could tell at a glance what was good and what was valuable. The next item is the last item of this auction. Tang Yun picked up the list and read, "The last item is a kiss donated by Meng Yao." Tang Yun paused after reading the auction list. The miss on the side froze as well. Who added her own kiss? Who added this? What kind of joke was this? But, seeing Shu winking at her from the side, Meng Yao understood what was going on. The list of items had always been organized by Shu and Xiaoxiao, and the auction wasn't very formal, so after the list was organized, Meng Yao and Tang Yun didn't look at it in advance and read it out directly. At this time, the words had already been said, and Meng Yao couldn't go back on her words. Although this was related to her reputation, an auction was an auction. Who would believe it if she said it was a joke? Even if someone would believe it, Meng Yao didn't want to embarrass herself. Meng Yao really wanted to beat the crap out of her when she saw Shu winking at her. This Shu was asking for a beating. What the hell was she doing? However, before Meng Yao could say anything, Yushu ran over and grabbed the microphone from Tang Yun's hand. "School bell, Meng Yao's kiss. The auction starts now. The starting price is 10,000. Start bidding now." Meng Yao was furious as she glared at Yushu. She didn't know what Yushu was trying to do. Was this a joke? However, Meng Yao wasn't stupid. She thought of a possibility. Could it be that Yushu prepared it for Linny? To let Linny get a kiss from her? Thinking about little Shu's usual behavior, this guess was indeed possible. Meng Yao was embarrassed and angry at the same time, but she was relieved. It was fine if it was taken by Lin Yi, but if it was taken by someone else, Meng Yao would rather die. Chapter 1277. Wadash. The audience was in an uproar, their eyes wide open as they stared at Meng Yao in shock. They didn't think that the last item would be so explosive and novel. She was the school's princess, the idol of many boys. However, most of the students also knew that they would not be able to enjoy this kiss. After all, the starting price of 10,000 yuan was enough to make people flinch. Moreover, this was only the starting price. In a while, the price would increase to a terrifying number. As a board member of the school, Peng Zhan naturally attended this fundraiser as well. He was stunned when he heard that Yushu was auctioning off Meng Yao's kiss. What was the meaning of this? Judging from his daughter's reaction, it seemed like she didn't know. Was it Shu, the troublemaker, who did this again? Peng Zhan felt a headache coming on. If this kiss was won by Lin Yi, his daughter wouldn't say anything. But if it was won by someone else, then he'd be screwed. That was why Peng Zhan felt a headache coming on when he saw this. If Lin Yi wasn't going to make a move, then he'd have to do it himself. It was natural for a daughter to kiss her father, it wasn't a big deal. Binggong and Jifeng looked at each other as well. This was a high school, and auctioning off a kiss was indeed a little overboard. But this was a public charity event, after all, and it wasn't their place to stop it. Moreover, the person in question was Peng Zhan's daughter, and if Peng Zhan wasn't doing anything, what could they possibly do? Zhang Wen's eyes lit up as he sat below the stage. He wasn't here for charity. He only had one goal, and that was to see Meng Yao. He heard that Meng Yao was the host, and so he brought Taizao to Songshan's first school to find a seat among the audience. Zhang Wen, on the other hand, wasn't very interested in the previous auction items. As the young master of Hausen, a family that supported the Firewolf gang, he had quite a collection. Many of them were smuggled in and treasured, so he didn't really care about the ordinary items. But this last item made Zhang Wen's eyes light up. "And bro, Meng Yao's kiss. Isn't this what you want? I think this is a great opportunity for you." Taizao chimed in happily from the side. "But Meng Yao hasn't been very nice to me lately. If I get this kiss, won't she be happy?" Zhang Wen was hesitating now that things had come to this point. How could that be? Since Meng Yao put her kiss up for auction, she has to accept that someone else will buy it. Taizao said, "Why would she put it up for auction if she wasn't mentally prepared? And looking at this boxing arena, the only one who has the strength and is willing to spend money to get this kiss is you, brotherin. Other people wouldn't like her either. They would definitely feel that it wasn't worth it to spend so much money on a kiss, but you're different, brotherin. That makes sense." Zhang Wen nodded. "So you're saying that it's prepared for me then? Not for that Lin Yi? How is that possible? If they really wanted Lin Yi to kiss her, they could have just done it at home. Why are they auctioning it off? They're just looking for trouble. Taizao analyzed. You're right. Then I'll bid for it. Zhang Wen nodded, full of fighting spirit. This is Yao Yao's first kiss. Yushu continued to add fuel to the fire. Anyone want to bid? 10,000 is so cheap. How much? Zhang Wen asked softly as he looked at Taizao. This wasn't a good price. If he gave too little, it'd seem like he was looking down on Meng Yao, and if he gave too much, it'd seem like he was a big spender. How about 50,000? Not too much, not too little? That's so expensive, I don't think anyone will fight with you. Taizao said after some hesitation. Alright. Zhang Wen raised his hand. I'll give you 50,000. Meng Yao frowned. She wasn't expecting Zhang Wen to be a part of this, and this made her feel a little troubled. What was Shu doing? What if Zhang Wen got the kiss? But Meng Yao couldn't lose her temper on stage. She was Peng Zhan's daughter, and the host of the fundraiser. What would others think of her if she flipped out on the spot? Tang Yun was the one who announced the item, and others would think that she was unhappy with Tang Yun, and Yushu was adding fuel to the fire. What if she fell out with her best friend? Even if she explained that she didn't know about the kiss, who would believe her? Someone's bid 50,000, anyone else? Yushu didn't expect Yao Yao's kiss to be sold for 50,000. That was a lot of money. 60,000. Lin didn't know what Yushu was up to, but it was obvious that the miss didn't want to give the kiss to Zhang Wen. As her bodyguard and live-in friend, he had no choice but to make a move. 60,000. Someone has bid 60,000. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? That brave and handsome guy from before? Yushu looked at Zhang Wen. Zhang Wen saw Yushu's gaze and heard Yushu call him a brave and handsome guy. He felt good about himself all of a sudden, thinking that Yushu was hinting that the kiss was tailor-made for him. That made him even more excited. Otherwise, why would Yushu call him a brave and handsome guy? After all, Meng Yao liked brave people the most. Could it be that Yushu wanted him to be with Meng Yao? With that thought, Zhang Wen was filled with fighting spirit. He stood up and shouted, 100,000. I'll bid 100,000. Wadash. The crowd was shocked again. One kiss was worth 100,000, wasn't that too shocking? But in fact, 100,000 wasn't the highest price. The guys who were fantasizing about it gave up. Although they liked Meng Yao, 100,000 for a kiss was too high a price. 200,000. Lin Yi stretched out his hand and said faintly. Although Lin Yi didn't know if the miss would be embarrassed if he won the kiss, he knew that the miss would be unhappy if Zhang Wen won the kiss. Although the Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's funds were tight, Lin Yi could still take out 200,000. Other things aside, the pocket money that Peng Zhan gave him was enough for 200,000. But why did it feel so awkward to use the money that Peng Zhan gave him to buy a kiss from his daughter? Chapter 1278. Zhang Wen was pissed when he heard Lin Yi's second bid. He couldn't help but rage. You're just a little bodyguard and you're going against me? How much money do you have? Peng Zhan gave it to you, didn't he? Using it to buy Meng Yao's kiss? Are you an idiot? Taizao nodded. This guy doesn't know his place. And bro, you can kill him with money if you want. That's right, you want to compete with me and Zhang Wen? What a joke. Zhang Wen's underground arena had been making a lot of money recently, and it was a profitable business. Zhang Wen had made a lot of money, and now was the time to be rich. He stood up and said, 300,000, I'll pay 300,000. Someone's paying 300,000. Yushu said excitedly. 300,000, anyone higher? With that, Yushu gave Xiao Xiao a look. Xiao Xiao knew what Yushu meant immediately. The two were of the same mind as expected of a troublemaker duo. One look was all it took to know what the other was thinking. Xiao Xiao sneakily took out her phone and sent a text to Lin. Lin Yi honey, you can raise the price, but you have to let Zhang Wen win. Lin Yi was about to bid when his phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at the text, pausing. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew that Xiao Xiao had something up her sleeves. No matter how messed up she was with Yushu, she wouldn't joke about Meng Yao's kiss. Lin Yi smiled and raised his hand. 350,000. Lin Yi was going to say 500,000, but after seeing Xiao Xiao's text, He changed it to 350,000. He didn't want to scare Jiang Wen off. Lin Yi's starting to raise the price by 50,000, he's out of money. Tai Zhao said gleefully. That's for sure, I have to win this time. Jiang Wen smiled and stood up. 400,000. 400,000? Lin Yi felt that this was already a very high price. He estimated that Jiang Wen's mental capacity should be around 500,000, and so Lin Yi stood up after some hesitation. 450,000. 500,000. Jiang Wen said without hesitation. But Lin Yi didn't know if he should continue or not. He was afraid that Jiang Wen would give up and ruin Yushu and Xiaoxiao's plan. And so Lin Yi raised his head to look at Xiaoxiao, who was giving him a look. Lin Yi estimated that the price was about right, and so Lin Yi reached out his hand and sat back down, looking like he had no choice but to give up. In truth, Lin Yi didn't even want to do it. As far as Yushu and Xiaoxiao were concerned, 500,000 was already a lot. What if Jiang Wen gave up on the deal? Then he wouldn't be able to achieve his goal of tricking him. But just as Yushu was about to say, 500,000, is there anyone else? Someone else called out. The bidder was Chu Pengzhan. 800,000. Pengzhan reached out his hand and said faintly. To Pengzhan, 800,000 was nothing. He could do a good deed and get a kiss from his daughter at the same time. It was a good deal. Lin Yi, on the other hand, paused. He didn't expect Pengzhan to make a bid when he gave up. Lin Yi looked at the stunned Xiaoxiao and Yushu on the stage, and he jumped in fright. He didn't want to let Pengzhan ruin these two girls' plans. And so, Lin Yi quickly forwarded Xiaoxiao's text to Pengzhan. Time was of the essence, and Lin didn't have time to edit it, so he sent Lin Yi hubby as well. But he was sure that Pengzhan would understand. Pengzhan's phone rang after he called out the price. Pengzhan sat back in his seat and pulled out his phone to look at the message. HM? Pengzhan froze. Lin Yi honey, you can raise the price, but you have to let in Jiang Wen get it. Lin Yi said, Lin Yi hubby? Pengzhan blinked. How did he become Lin Yi's hubby? Did they send it to the wrong person? He quickly looked at the sender's number, but seeing that it was from Lin Yi, it must have been Lin Yi who forwarded it. It was probably either Tang Yin or Xiaoxiao who sent this message to Lin Yi, telling Lin Yi to give up. That meant that they didn't want to auction off Mingyao's kiss, but had a backup plan? At that thought, Pengzhan regretted that he'd rushed to bid. Wouldn't he scare Jiang Wen off? Plus, he'd increased the price by 300,000. Would Jiang Wen continue to increase the price? Indeed, Pengzhan's sudden bid did scare Jiang Wen. He didn't expect Pengzhan to suddenly bid. What was the meaning of this? Did he not want him to win Mingyao's kiss? Or was he testing him? Why hadn't Pengzhan made a bid before? Why did Lin Yi make a bid when Pengzhan didn't? And so, Jiang Wen hesitated. Tai Zhao, what do you think Pengzhan is doing? Why did he suddenly bid? And bro, I think that Pengzhan is testing you, to see how much you care about Mengyao. Mengyao is a rich girl, and 500,000 for a first kiss isn't that much. So, Pengzhan is trying to raise Mengyao's value, and also to see if you really like Mengyao. Tai Zhao analyzed. If you really like her, you wouldn't care about spending a few 100,000. If you don't, you'd give up. That makes sense. Jiang Wen patted Tai Zhao's shoulder. Then tell me, why didn't Pengzhan bid when Lin Yi was bidding? Could it be that Pengzhan has high hopes for Lin Yi? Not necessarily. I think it was because Lin Yi was bidding, and Pengzhan didn't need to bid. Now that Lin Yi gave up, he decided to bid. Tai Zhao said, I see. Then was that Mingyao's first kiss? Could it be that Yushu made it up? Didn't she say that Mengyao gave her first kiss to Lin Yi? Jiang Wen asked suspiciously. How can you believe Yushu's words? That girl is full of lies, and we've been tricked by her all these years. I think that she might have given her first kiss to Lin Yi, but definitely not to Mengyao. Tai Zhao sighed. Can't you tell? Yushu seems to like Lin Yi a little, and she doesn't want to be separated from Mengyao. That's why she's always urging Mengyao to marry Lin Yi and be his first wife. Chapter 1279. Yushu thought that no one else was going to bid for 800,000, but her plan was ruined by Uncle Chu. She couldn't ask Xiaoxiao to send him a message, could she? Plus, Uncle Chu had already bid, so there was no point in hinting anymore. Jiang Wen hadn't made a bid yet. 1 million. Just when Yushu thought that it was over, Jiang Wen jumped up and bid again. Yushu was very happy. Wow, there's still a strong bidder. 1 million. Yao Yao's first kiss is already worth 1 million. Are there any higher bids? I don't think so, right? 1 million going once, 1 million going twice, 1 million going thrice. Sold. Congratulations, Jiang Wen, for getting Yao Yao's first kiss. Yushu couldn't wait any longer, as if she wanted to sell Ming Yao's first kiss to Jiang Wen. Seeing how much Yushu wanted him to get Ming Yao's first kiss, Jiang Wen was overjoyed. Even Ming Yao's best friend was helping him. He had a 90% chance of getting the miss this time. It seemed that Yushu had thought it through and wanted to push Meng Yao to him. But Jiang Wen was so happy. He could feel that Yushu was helping him. Even Peng Zhan hadn't been able to make a bid before Yushu made the final call. Thank you for your support, everyone. Jiang Wen stood up. He couldn't wait any longer. Other auctioneers would just swipe their cards and transfer the money and get the item on the spot. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, naturally wanted to get Ming Yao's first kiss right now. Now, let's welcome Jiang Wen to the stage to receive the item. Yushu replaced Tang Yun and Meng Yao as the host. Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't know what to do. What was this Shu trying to do? Was she crazy? She wanted her to kiss Jiang Wen? Why didn't she just kill her? Meng Yao was anxious, but she couldn't get angry. She just frowned and didn't know what to do. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, couldn't wait any longer as he walked up the stage. Jiang Wen, please swipe your card first. Yushu handed the POS machine to Jiang Wen and said seriously, Okay. I'll do it now. Jiang Wen smiled happily as he took out his bank card and swiped 1 million over, whispering, Thank you, Shu sis. Don't worry, if I manage to get Yao Yao, you'll get a lot of benefits. Thank you for your generosity, Jiang Wen classmate. Yushu, on the other hand, ignored Jiang Wen. Now, let's welcome Jiang Wen to receive the auction items. Now? Can we do it now? Jiang Wen was very excited, salivating as he looked at Meng Yao's cold face. Of course, Yushu said. Yao Yao's first kiss is already yours. Well, I won't hold back then. With that, Jiang Wen started walking towards Meng Yao. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Did Shu lose her mind? How could he do such a thing? Kissing Jiang Wen? Jiang Wen? Where did you go? Over here, Xiaoxiao's classmate will give you the item. Yushu grabbed Jiang Wen and pulled him back. Xiaoxiao? Isn't it Meng Yao? Jiang Wen paused. Why would he want Xiaoxiao's first kiss? Xiaoxiao was pretty, but spending 1 million to buy a kiss from someone like her? Wasn't he an idiot? Here it is. Xiaoxiao took out a water sculpture from a box and held it in her hands. Jiang Wen classmate, this is for you. This is Ming Yao's first kiss. What? Jiang Wen paused. What first kiss is this? This is the first kiss. Xiaoxiao held up the sculpture. This is a sculpture made from Ming Yao's kiss mark. This is Ming Yao's first kiss. The sculpture in Xiaoxiao's hands looked like the hand marks of celebrities, except that this was a kiss mark made into the crystal. It was a souvenir. This is the first kiss? Jiang Wen looked at the sculpture in Xiaoxiao's hands and almost cried. 1 million for a piece of broken glass? Was there a mistake? This was the first kiss? Was this a scam? Yeah, isn't it written here? Ming Yao's first kiss. Yushu said, pointing at the sculpture in Xiaoxiao's hands. The crowd burst into laughters. All the students could see that Jiang Wen had been scammed. She was playing a word game, saying that this was Ming Yao's first kiss, but she didn't say that Meng Yao was the one who kissed him. Jiang Wen's face was very ugly. He didn't think that Yushu would come up with something like this. He finally understood that he'd been played by Yushu again. Jiang Wen wanted to curse. He'd spent so much money to buy a piece of trash like this. Meng Yao finally understood why Yushu was auctioning off her kiss. It was all for Jiang Wen's sake. Even Meng Yao didn't remember this sculpture, but she seemed to have made it with Yushu in a shop back in middle school. She'd never looked at it again after that. She didn't know how Yushu found it, but she took it out and sold it for 1 million. With that thought, Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that she'd worried for nothing. Shu was really evil, Tricking Jiang Wen like this. 1,000,000 gone just like that. But while this sculpture was her own kiss mark, Meng Yao didn't really want to give it to Jiang Wen. This was her real kiss mark after all. What if Jiang Wen took it and did something disgusting to her? But in comparison, this was a result that Meng Yao could accept. If she was that worried, then Jiang Wen might take her picture and do something disgusting to her. Jiang Wen couldn't do anything, he'd been scammed, but he'd bought it willingly, and he couldn't get mad on the stage. If he did, wouldn't he look petty? Meng Yao's impression of him would be even worse. And so, Jiang Wen could only accept his fate. He walked over with an ugly smile on his face, taking the sculpture from Xiaoxiao's hands. But as soon as he touched it, it felt slippery, and with a whoosh, it fell off the stage, shattering into pieces. Chapter 1280. Fuck. It was only then that Jiang Wen realized that the sculpture was covered in a slippery substance, and his hands were still feeling sticky and slippery. Jiang Wen was about to explode. What the hell was this? Sorry, I spilled some lubricant on it, so it's a bit slippery. It's just that you broke it, it has nothing to do with me. Xiaoxiao said with an evil smile on her face. Jiang Wen's eyes widened as he clutched his chest. He was pissed to death. Lubricant? How could there be lubricant on the sculpture? This Xiaoxiao must have done it on purpose. This girl was as bad as Yushu. He was screwed. Jiang Wen had been comforting himself with the fact that he bought a sculpture for 1,000,000, so be it. It was a broken piece of glass, but it was still Meng Yao's kiss mark. He couldn't use it, but he could still go home and fantasize about it. However, this time it was great. It was directly smashed into pieces. There was not even a single thought left. It directly turned into a large pile of glass shards. Wow, Jiang Wen classmate, you're so generous. 1,000,000 for a sound, Yushu said as she looked at Jiang Wen with admiration. Jiang Wen wanted to curse, but he knew that he was on a stage and Meng Yao was watching. If he was too stingy, Meng Yao would hate him even more. He had no choice but to cry and laugh. It's okay, ha. With that, Jiang Wen didn't have the face to stay on the stage anymore. He got off the stage and walked back to his seat with his head lowered. The audience didn't know that there was lubricant on the sculpture. They thought that Jiang Wen was angry that he bought 1,000,000 for a broken piece of glass, and so he smashed it. He didn't want to smash it, so he pretended that he accidentally dropped it on the ground and broke it. Meng Yao let out a breath of relief, even she started to pity Jiang Wen. This poor guy, meeting Yushu and Xiaoxiao was just his bad luck. These two girls were really ruthless too. Not only did they scam him of 1,000,000, they even went as far as to smash the sculpture. Meng Yao, naturally, didn't believe that the lubricant was accidentally spilled on the sculpture. Xiaoxiao probably did it on purpose. Why didn't she warn Jiang Wen first? Something like this could have been avoided with just a reminder, so he must have purposely made Jiang Wen fall on the ground. Meng Yao didn't have to worry about Jiang Wen doing anything bad with the crystal statue, though. This made her feel much better. Xiaoxiao and Yushu, on the other hand, looked at each other, seeing the evil smirk in each other's eyes. Lin didn't know what to say as he looked at Jiang Wen's sad face. But Yushu and Xiaoxiao, these two girls were really something. Jiang Wen had no choice but to swallow his grievances. The fundraiser came to an end after Jiang Wen's high price. The total amount was close to 2,000,000, and to the orphanage, it was a drop in the bucket. But that was all they could do, at least lessening the pressure on the orphanage. Lin could have told Lingshan not to be so strict on the theft, but Lin didn't do that. Lingshan had her own principles, and Lin didn't want her to change anything. After all, what Xiaoko was doing wasn't right. She could only continue to live in the dark and rely on herself. But even if it was 2,000,000, Xiaoko was already very happy. At the very least, this 2,000,000 was enough to last him for a period of time if he continued to live such a simple and hard life. After getting kicked by Lin Yufeng rushed to his apartment in Songshan and called his father, Shuixing. He couldn't hold it in anymore, he had to teach Lin a lesson. Phone? Why are you calling me now? Aren't you in school? Shuixing picked up the phone, confused. Dad, I got kicked by Lin today, and I can't hold it in anymore. I'm going to kill him. Yufeng screamed as soon as he picked up the phone. Oh. Shuixing paused. You got kicked by Lin? What happened? It's like this. Yu Feng told his father what happened today. I just casually cursed at his girlfriend, and he suddenly came on stage and kicked me off. Don't you think that's too much? With Lin Yi's protective personality, it's not strange. But it's been so long and you still don't know Lin Yi's background, and you don't know what level Lin Yi's strength is at either. I'm worried that you'll get into trouble if you act rashly. Xuexing was a rather calm person, and he looked at the situation more holistically. Yu Feng, the noble house meeting is starting soon, and it's best not to cause trouble now. House Xiao is so powerful, and the Xiao family has the hidden house Pai's help as well. Why aren't they causing trouble for Lin Yi? There's probably more to this than meets the eye. But I can't accept this. I've lost all my face today, and if I don't get it back, I won't be able to stay in school anymore. Yu Feng said, unwilling to give up. That's something that can't be done. You have to learn to endure in order to achieve greatness. Xuexing sighed. House Yu used to be the strongest house in the world, but now that they have the support of House Pai, the Xiao family isn't much weaker than us, and the hidden house Zhao is even stronger than us. If they don't make a move, why should we be the ones to do it? If we don't handle this right, and there really is some sort of master behind Lin Yi, then it'd be a disaster for House Yu. Annihilation? It can't be that serious, right? Don't we have the support of the hidden House Yu behind us? Yu Feng jumped, calming down quite a bit. Chapter 1281. SSSS. Yu Feng sucked in a cold breath. So you're saying that Lin Yi's background might be really strong? Yes, that's why I didn't let you do anything rash. I've been talking to your brother these past few days, and I know these secrets. I didn't have time to remind you. Xuexing said. Thank goodness you didn't act rashly. Man, so you're just going to give up like this? Yu Feng wasn't too happy, but after hearing his father's words, he felt that things were getting serious. He was arrogant, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew that his father wouldn't lie to him. How about this? Don't look into Lin Yi's background for now. Focus on getting close to Lingshan, and I'll announce this decision during the Noble House meeting. It'll increase House Yu's power and influence in the Noble House meeting. Xuexing sighed. Now that Family Xiao has House Pai's support, they're threatening our position. If we let Family Xiao grow, then we might not be able to control the Noble House meeting and the ranking. So, let's put Lin Yi's matter aside for now. Alright, but Lingshan doesn't seem to like me. She's a little cold. Yu Feng said, a little troubled. Then I won't go to school. I don't have the face to go there anymore. Alright, you don't have to go to school for now. We'll wait until the Noble House meeting is over and we confirm the position of the new generation of House Yu, then we'll go all out to deal with Lin Yi. It'll be easier that way. Let him have his fun for a few days. Yu Feng really wanted to cause trouble for Lin Yi, but Xuexing was stopping him. He could only give up on that thought, but he couldn't let it out. It was just that he was pissed off that he couldn't vent it out. Time flew by, and Xiaoxiao's illness acted up again. Although it happened right in front of Lin Yi had to use half of his blood to wake her up. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Yi was a practitioner, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold on. Just as old Lin had said, Xiaoxiao's condition was getting worse and worse. Each time it happened, it was more severe than the last, and the cold energy in her body was getting more and more overbearing. A little bit of blood was enough to suppress it, but now it took more than half of his blood to be effective. This made Lin Yi's heart sink. If this continued, it would probably be all of his blood next time. Although Lin Yi had the art of dragon mastery to heal, Lin Yi didn't know if his blood would always be effective. Now, he had developed a resistance to the cold yin qi. This time, it was very obvious. But in order to reassure Xiaoxiao, Lin Yi still had a smile on his face when Xiaoxiao woke up, as if nothing had happened. I'm alive again? Xiaoxiao opened her eyes and looked at the nervous Lin Yi, Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Tang Yun had rushed to the villa as soon as she received Xiaoxiao's message, waiting for her to wake up. With me by your side, of course you'll come back to life. Lin Yi smiled. I told you I won't let you die. Lin Yi felt like he was going against his will when he said that, but he had no other choice. He could only comfort Xiaoxiao like this. After all, it was more important for her to be in a good mood. I thought I wouldn't be able to come back to life this time, Xiao seemed to be quite open about it. I got my life back, thank you, Lin Yi honey. What are you thanking me for? Isn't it my duty to save you? Lin Yi smiled. Alright, let's get some rest, it's getting late. Tang Yun, why don't you sleep here tonight? There's a guest room upstairs? Lin Yi was very weak right now. He had half of his blood left, but he was holding on. He couldn't wait to enter the jade space to heal. But Tang Yun could see Lin Yi's tiredness and nodded. Today was Friday, and there was no school tomorrow. The day after tomorrow was Shirhan's concert, so it wasn't a bad idea for Tang Yun to stay here. But would Meng Yao be willing? Then let's sleep together. My bed upstairs is very spacious. Yun, it's not like we've never slept together before. You're not shy, are you? Meng Yao smiled. Of course not. Tang Yun shook her head. The four of them were very familiar with each other now, so there was no need to be shy. Tang Yun was tired as well. It was best to rest as soon as possible. Lin Yi didn't care about them. He returned to his room, exhausted, and channeled the art of dragon mastery to sleep. Xiao, on the other hand, was fine now. She sat up from the sofa. She seemed to be in a good state, but she wasn't in a good mood. What's wrong? Xiao? You don't look too happy? Tang Yun noticed that something was wrong with Xiao. Man. Xiao sighed. Yun sis, my body. I know. This time, I thought I wouldn't be able to live anymore, but Lin Yi honey pulled me back from the gates of hell. But next time, it won't be so simple. I don't know how long I can live with you guys. Don't talk nonsense. Didn't Lin Yi say that he has a way to cure you? Why are you thinking so much? Tang Yun didn't say anything on the surface, but her heart ached for no reason. She saw how Lin Yi had healed Xiao today. Xiao fainted in the living room, so Lin Yi didn't carry her back to the room. He quickly cut his wrist and used his blood to heal her. Tang Yun, the miss, and Shu saw how much blood Lin used. They saw the worry on Lin Yi's face as well. Lin Yi didn't say much, but anyone who wasn't stupid would know how heavy Lin Yi's heart was. Next time, it wouldn't be this easy. Even if he drained all of Lin Yi's blood dry, he might not be able to wake Xiao up. Yeah, didn't you say that you'd live with us forever and go to university together? Meng Yao had accepted Xiao as well. At first it was sympathy, but then it was friendship, and after living together, they became best friends who could talk about anything. Her relationship with Xiao wasn't much worse than Xiao and Tang Yun's relationship. The miss didn't want Xiao to die, but there were some things that she couldn't change. Chapter 1282. Haha, alright, we'll be the troublemaker duo, sweeping through the universe. Ha. Xiao started laughing, but after that, she felt a bit sad. Actually, you guys don't need to try and convince me. You know what my body is like. Yun sis, I'm actually going to die, right? Look at how you're all centered around me. You even gave me Lin Yi hubby because I'm going to die, right? Of course not, didn't we agree on this? It's just a bet. Tang Yun shook her head. Alright, I've thought it through. If I die, then so be it. If there's a next life, then we'll be sisters again. If there isn't, then I'll be in heaven waiting for you guys to come and accompany me. It's nothing. Xiao smiled. Actually, it's been more than 10 years, and I knew that this day would come. I'm already very happy and satisfied. Alright, let's go to sleep then. At least we're happy now. Meng Yao nodded. Xiao was covered in Lin Yi's blood, and some of it had dried up. It was very uncomfortable, so she needed a hot bath first. I'll go shower. You guys? Xiao asked. Well, wait a bit, you shower first. Meng Yao knew that Xiao wasn't feeling well, so she didn't hesitate to let Xiao take the bath. I'll shower with Xiao. Yushu said, wanting to join in. The bathroom was big and it was more than enough for the two of them. Xiao didn't reject. She was quite familiar with Yushu now, and it wasn't a big deal to be naked with her. Xiao turned on the hot water and entered the bathroom first. Yushu said that she was going to get some body wash, and that she'd be back in a bit. Xiao didn't mind. But, just as Xiao was taking off her clothes and enjoying herself in the bathtub, Yushu came running in with a camera, excited. Xiao, come. I'll take a picture of you. Xiao jumped in fright. She didn't expect Yushu to run in with a camera. Then, wouldn't he have been recorded completely? Xiaoxiao couldn't help but get pissed at how excited Yushu was. She subconsciously jumped up and tried to grab the camera from Yushu's hand. However, when she stood up, she suddenly realized that she was completely exposed in front of the camera. But now Yushu had bought all of them. Wow, Xiaoxiao, you have a great figure too. Yushu dodged as she slapped away. Hurry up and set it up. I was going to use it for Shield Bro's memories after you're dead. You should cooperate so that you can live forever in Shield Bro's heart. Since Xiaoxiao had seen through life and death, she naturally didn't mind Yushu joking around a bit. But Yushu's actions made her really shy, even though she already agreed with what Yushu said. He had to admit that Yushu was right. What if Lin Yi missed him after he died? He could look at his own video and reminisce about it, but this video of him not wearing clothes was a little embarrassing. Xiaoxiao didn't mind letting Lin Yi see it, but she was a little embarrassed. Plus, she was afraid that Yushu would turn around and give the video to Lin Yi. She'd be too ashamed to face anyone if that happened. If she were to wait until she was dead, then so be it. She wouldn't know anything once she was dead, so there was no need to worry. And so, Xiaoxiao thought of a good idea. She was going to drag Yushu down with her. Let's do it. How do you want to do it? Xiaoxiao didn't resist anymore, ready to cooperate with Yushu. Yushu paused. She didn't expect Xiaoxiao to think it through so quickly. But Yushu didn't think too much about it. As far as she was concerned, Xiaoxiao wanted to leave something behind in front of Lin Yi, and so she let her guard down. She let Xiaoxiao do all sorts of seductive poses, and Xiaoxiao played along. And so, Yushu's guard was at its lowest. What she didn't expect was for Xiaoxiao to suddenly grab the camera from Yushu's hand and point it at Yushu herself. Wah, stupid Shu, you fell for it? It's my turn now. Lin Yi honey saw me and he saw you. Your boobs are so big. Xiaoxiao stepped to the side after taking the camera, so that Yushu wouldn't take it away again. Yushu didn't expect Xiaoxiao to be so cooperative before, but with Xiaoxiao's personality, it wasn't hard to understand why she would do that. Xiaoxiao could do what she could do too. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Shield Bro's already seen me a couple of times, it's nothing. Yushu decided to be generous and let Xiaoxiao take the video, thinking that she'd have to wait for Lin Yi to see this video. Yushu considered herself as the second wife, but the two didn't have a real relationship yet. She didn't feel like it was a good idea to just show Lin Yi a video. But, since she was so happy today, it didn't matter if she took a video. And so, at first, it was just one person, but then it was two people. Finally, it was two people working together to film the Miss and Tang Yun, and so, the Miss and Tang Yun were in for a bad time. The video in the DV couldn't be shown to Lin Yi at all. It had just become a joke between the sisters. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't expect Yushu and Xiaoxiao to make such a big commotion. After returning to his room, Lin Yi entered the training space immediately, absorbing the energy in the jade space like crazy. I'm afraid this will be the last time, Jiao Yazi said coldly as he looked at Lin. What last time? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. He understood, but he didn't want to understand. The last time we'll use this method to save her, Jiao Yazi said flatly. I don't believe you don't understand. I understand, but what? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. So this was what Jiao Yazi was talking about. Lin Yi didn't want to accept this, but there was nothing he could do. Chapter 1283. You're giving me a hard time. Lin Yi looked at Jiao Lao helplessly. Can't you let me dream a little? Why did you have to say it out loud? I'm saying it out loud so you can prepare yourself and adjust your mentality. As a practitioner, your heart is already in a mess. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but if you're not in a good mood, it will definitely affect your training speed. This isn't what I want to see, Jiao Yazi said. Alright, since you can see through it, is there any other way? Linist. If my real body was here, there shouldn't be a problem, but there's no other way. I'm just a shadow, or rather, a strand of soul. I can only exist in the jade pendant. There's no other way. Jiao Lao shook his head. Jiao Yazi's words made Lin Yi fall into deep thought. Lin Yi didn't want to accept this result, but there was nothing he could do. Forget it, let's just go with the flow. Lin Yi sighed. House Kong had recently bought a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, but the situation they expected didn't happen. From their perspective, no matter how much raw materials they squeezed out, it wouldn't be able to withstand such a huge amount of consumption. However, Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was starting to be sold on a large scale nationwide, and the supply seemed to be very abundant. Moreover, according to House Kang's investigation, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was building a factory with great fanfare. Building a factory? What did this mean? It meant that the raw materials were very abundant, but the size of the factory limited the production capacity. This result made the people of the Kang family extremely shocked. What's going on? Can someone tell us? Where did they get the raw materials? Dr. Kang was furious when he heard the news. Didn't they say that they were losing money? Which family would lose money like this? Building a factory to increase production capacity just to lose money? Dad, don't get angry first. This matter needs to be investigated further. They might not be building a factory to produce injury medicine. Maybe they have a new product they want to sell? Kang Geifeng hesitated and stood out. The idea of buying a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was brought up by Kang Geifeng and Xiaolong. Now that there was a problem, he naturally had to explain himself. Let's not care about their factory first. What I want to ask is, where did they get the raw materials? House Kang has used up almost all of our liquid funds in order to buy Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine. We've filled up the warehouse. Even when our Kang family was in its heyday, our warehouse was never so full. What did they use to produce the injury medicine? We've never produced this much, even during the harvest years. Miracle Dr. Kang was about to explode. He suddenly slapped the table and roared, "These are only the ones bought by our Kang family, and there are already so many of them. What about the others in the market? What's the market? They're buying more than us. They have everything. Even if we buy more, they still have more." Dr. Kang accidentally went to House Kang's warehouse today and found that it was filled with Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. That was when he felt that something was wrong. How many raw materials did they need to produce this? So he immediately called for Kang Geifeng, who was in charge of purchasing materials. Kang Geifeng was shocked when he saw the amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in the warehouse. Wasn't this too much? He only ordered his subordinates to buy as much medicine as they could get, but he didn't check how much he got himself. Plus, it had only been a few days. Kang Geifeng thought that they couldn't get that much even if they bought more. But looking at it today, it seemed like there was a problem. They bought too much, and it didn't seem to affect the market at all. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was sold as usual, and there was never a situation where there was a shortage. Isn't nephew Xiaoming in charge of the other party's supply channel? Kang Geifeng wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. It seemed like his father was really angry. But Kang Geifeng didn't expect the situation in the warehouse to be so full. So, without a choice, Kang Geifeng could only push the blame to his nephew Kang Mingming. Kang Mingming was in charge of finding out the other party's supply channel. He didn't get the information, so what did it have to do with him? He had only made a wrong judgment when he had no information. Kang Mingming was looking at the joke coldly. He didn't agree to buying a large amount of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, but no one listened. Now that they were in trouble, he was very happy. But he didn't expect his uncle to be so shameless and push the blame to him. "Uncle, you can't say that. Back then, I was against your way of doing things. I already said that the other party might have changed the formula and removed a few expensive herbs. That's why the cost was reduced and the output was increased. But you didn't believe me? Now you're pushing the blame to me. Isn't that a bit wrong?" Kang Mingming jumped out and retorted. "This." Kang Geifeng suddenly remembered that Kang Mingming did object to it before. He didn't think much of it, but now that Kang Mingming reminded him, he remembered that Kang Mingming did say those words. He predicted it again? "Xiaoming? You seem to be able to predict things like a god recently. You seem to have predicted it a few times?" Xiaolong said faintly as he looked at Kang Mingming. Xiaolong sounded like he was praising Kang Mingming, but anyone could tell that he was suspecting that Kang Mingming was colluding with outsiders to frame House Kang. Enough! Dr. Kang looked at Kang Geifeng and Xiaolong, who were trying to push the blame away. He slammed the table and scolded, "Shut up! Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Xiaoming did say that before, but that was to remind us, out of good intentions. I'm the one who's lost my mind and listened to you too, trash. No matter how much of a spoiled brat Xiaoming is, he wouldn't collude with outsiders to frame House Kong. House Kong is his house, and when he becomes the head of the house, all these things will be his. What is he framing? Chapter 1284. Yes, Xiaoming's right. The most important thing right now is to solve the problem. You two pieces of trash, look at Xiaoming. This is what it means to care about House Kong, and you too? Pushing the blame away when something happens, isn't House Kong still your House Kong? Dr. Kong scolded. Xiaolong and Kong Greifeng were troubled. What was wrong with this Kong Mingming? His luck was surprisingly good these days, but he couldn't say these words out loud. Grandpa, uncle and brother are actually worried, but we're just a little flustered. Kong Mingming didn't wait for Dr. Kong to ask and started talking. I think that we, House Kong, need to take some measures to minimize our losses from this mistake. First of all, we have to stop buying the injury medicine from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. I suggest that we bring the injury medicine to our lab for testing and comparison. We might not be able to analyze the formula, but we can see if there are any of the precious herbs in Miracle Dr. Kang's golden creation. I think this shouldn't be a problem for you, right? Kong Xiaoming spoke leisurely. What he said was what he said last time, but this time, it was more professional and strict. This was something Kong Xiaoming had prepared beforehand. Although Kong Xiaoming didn't foresee that his big brother would be at a disadvantage, he was unwilling to accept it last time. He had been praying for his big brother's plan to fail, so he made some preparations beforehand. He didn't think that it would come in handy now. Thus, Xiaoming is right. Xiaolong, bring some of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine for analysis and see if there are any precious herbs in it. This is very important. If there aren't any, we'll be screwed. Miracle Dr. Kong knew that something wasn't right. Then we'll have to sell our stock as soon as possible. Yes, Grandpa. Xiaolong had no choice. Kong Mingming was in the limelight now, but he still nodded with a dark expression. It wasn't an easy task to analyze the ingredients of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. With the current science and technology, it was not easy to analyze the formula. If it was so easy, then there would be no such thing as a secret formula in the world. Those outstanding food ingredients would also be analyzed by others, not to mention those finished pills. Back then, the Kong family had expended so much effort to analyze the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but they hadn't been able to figure it out. In the end, they had come up with a dog**t conclusion, so one could see how difficult it was to analyze the formula. However, it was much easier to test whether there were a few known components in a certain drug. As long as they analyzed the characteristics of those components, they would be able to determine it. As a result, the test report of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was sent back to House Kong as fast as possible. Looking at the series of red crosses on the report, Dr. Kong almost fainted. The red crosses meant that the ingredients weren't present, which meant that there wasn't a single rare ingredient in Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. No wonder the medicine was so cheap, there weren't any of those rare ingredients. Naturally, the cost would be lower. No, there's none. Dr. Kong threw the report at Kong Guifeng's face. You unfilial son, take a good look at yourself, you're a grown man, and your brain isn't as good as Xiaoming's? You should have gone to the lab a long time ago, but now you've got a whole warehouse full of trash. You've taken up so much of House Kang's liquidity, what should we do? Father, please don't be angry, I didn't think of this, did I? Plus, Xiaoming was the one who gave me Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. You saw it too, it's exactly the same as ours. Who would have thought that they would cut corners? Kong Greifeng frowned. You can't blame me for this, can you? Kong Greifeng didn't finish his sentence, but anyone could understand what he was implying. The only person to blame was Kong Mingming, who told him to bring back a fake prescription. Fuck your mother. Dr. Kong heard his eldest son's words and finally exploded. He jumped up and slapped Kong Guifeng's face. You're blaming others for your own mistakes? Xiaoming did bring back the prescription, but Xiaoming said that Guan Shuimin might have cut corners and changed the prescription. Why didn't you hear that? Do you have a choice? Kong Geifeng was slapped and immediately became quiet. He covered his swollen face, depressed. "I'm sorry, father." "Grandpa, since it's already happened, let's think of a way to solve it. Although father and I are both at fault, we're doing this for House Kong. We want to deal a blow to Miracle Dr. Guan." Zhao Long quickly tried to smooth things over. "Then tell me, what should we do?" Dr. Kong nodded and asked. "First, we should get rid of the stock in the warehouse as soon as possible. These things have an expiration date, and if they expire, we'll lose a lot of money." Zhao Long said, "If it comes down to it, we'll have to lose some money and get rid of them. Since they cut corners on the medicine, the effects won't be as good as before. If there's a negative reaction in the market and we don't get rid of them in time, we'll lose money. That's the only way." Miracle Dr. Kong sighed. House Kang's recent financial situation can't take much more. House Kang's main business has been attacked by Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and it's not what it used to be. House Xiao broke off the engagement with us. It's one wrong step, and every step is wrong. Not to mention becoming a noble house, it'll be hard for us to maintain our previous glory. Grandpa, we shouldn't give up. We should take the initiative. Since we know that Miracle Dr. Guan cut corners on the raw materials, we can make a statement and attack them for their shoddy business practices. We'll tarnish their reputation. Zhao Long suggested, unwilling to admit defeat. He wanted to change his image in front of his grandpa. One had to know that he was the third-generation head of House Kong. But now, it had become Kong Xiaoming out of nowhere. He couldn't accept it. Chapter 1285. What's wrong with that? Zhao Long froze. What makes you think that their injury medicine is the same as our golden creation? Are you going to tell the media that you asked Xiaoming to bribe the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's company to get the formula? If that's the case, then the reputation of our Dr. Kang's medical group will be ruined. Dr. Kong humphed coldly. Also, if you list out those precious herbs, our Dr. Kang's golden creation formula will be in danger of being leaked. You have to know that the uniqueness of our formula lies in those precious herbs. If someone else learns about it and tries to figure it out, there might be a Miracle Dr. Li or Miracle Dr. Wang appearing tomorrow. Isn't that just asking for trouble? Grandpa, I'm sorry, I didn't think it through. Zhao Long lowered his head, admitting his wrongdoing. He was too eager to turn things around, and he didn't think before he spoke. Xiaoming, what do you think? I didn't think that the person I looked down on the most in the whole House Kong is the smartest one now. Miracle Dr. Kong was very satisfied with Kong Xiaoming, especially since he'd performed so many miraculous feats. Miracle Dr. Kong valued him even more. Grandpa, I think we should do something else while we're dealing with the injury medicine. We can't just sit here and wait for death. Kong Mingming said. The meeting of the noble houses is about to start. We have to do something, or we won't have a chance this time. That's right, we can't just sit here and wait for death. We have to take the initiative. This is what the descendants of House Kong should do. Dr. Kong nodded. Tell me your opinion. First, we're too weak. We should get a noble house to help us. The best one to help us is actually the Xiao family. After all, our two houses have an engagement. Compared to other noble houses, it's easier to get in touch with them. Kong Mingming analyzed proudly. Actually, everyone understood his analysis. It was just that they felt that there was no hope. However, Kong Mingming didn't care so much. He only wanted to improve his image and the right to speak. So, no matter how feasible this matter was, he would bring it up first. Well, that makes sense. Dr. Kong nodded. Zhao Long couldn't take it any longer. Makes sense? What **T logic? He knew that his grandpa liked Kong Mingming now, so whatever he said, his grandpa would agree. Zhao Long calmed down and stood up to refute. Grandpa Xiaoming, although the Xiao family used to have a good relationship with us, but now, the last time we went to visit the Xiao family didn't even acknowledge us. Do you think the Xiao family would still like us? What Zhao Long said is indeed a problem. Xiaoming, what do you think? Dr. Kong didn't have much ability or brains. He was just an illiterate who didn't even graduate from primary school. It was only by chance that he obtained the formula of golden creation that he was able to establish House Kong. In fact, he didn't have any ability at all. He didn't even have basic medical knowledge, let alone managing a family. But because of the powerful golden creation formula, other families came to suck up to them, so it wasn't a big deal for House Kong to be a little mediocre. But things were different now. Miracle Dr. Kang's pretense of being mysterious and unfathomable didn't work anymore. He'd trained himself to think and do things like a leader, but his foundation was too weak. He'd be the first one to panic when something happened to House Kong. This is related to the second thing I wanted to say. You guys have to let me finish. Kong Ming Ming rolled his eyes. He actually connected the first and second things together. He was very proud of himself. He was a genius to be able to connect these two things together. Oh, then hurry up and tell me, what is the second thing? Dr. Kong didn't suspect anything. The second thing is that I need to find the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing as soon as possible. As long as our Kong family has the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, we will be able to create the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. To our Kong family, it will be a huge boon. The Xiao family knows that we can create the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. They will probably take the initiative to mend their relationship with us. If we have the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, the other families will definitely come to us for help. Wouldn't it be a piece of cake for us to become an aristocratic family? Kong Ming Ming said in one breath. After he finished speaking, he was a little impressed with himself. He was too amazing, too awesome, to be able to speak so fluently. He was a genius. Good idea. Good idea. Our Kong family has Xiaoming. The heavens are truly blessing us. Dr. Kong slapped the table and laughed heartily. Grandpa, but Xuemin has the formula as well. This way, we won't be the only ones with the formula, and we won't have an obvious advantage. Xiaolong, on the other hand, was singing a different tune. He knew that Xiaoming was bullshitting and everyone knew that, but Xiaoming just had to link it all together. He couldn't help but be impressed that his brother had such an unreasonable brain. That's not it. Kong Ming Ming said. It said that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is made from some rare herbs, and the production of these herbs is limited every year. It's very rare, so it's a matter of competition. Whoever can get their hands on these rare herbs first will have the advantage. I think that with our relationship with the pharmacists, even if we can't get all of these rare herbs, we'll be able to get a portion of them. Even if we only get a portion, we'll have a say in the matter. After all, the production of these herbs is low, and there's only a small amount every year. The rarer something is, the greater its value. We'll still have an advantage then. That's right. Xiaolong, look at your brother. When it comes to academics, he's not as good as you, but he's very good at scheming. You have to be impressed. But a scholar can't be the head of a house, after all. The head of the house needs to have brains. I think Xiaoming's idea is very doable. Let's do it. Dr. Kong said happily. Yes, Grandpa. Kong Ming Ming agreed happily. Chapter 1286. But even if it was a chain reaction, finding the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was something Xiaolong didn't think was possible. But Kong Ming Ming just had to pull it out like it was easy. Xiaolong wasn't willing to accept this. He was the head of the house. The words his grandfather said to him before the Yanjing auction were still ringing in his ears, but now the head of the house was his own brother, Kong Ming Ming. He wasn't willing, he really wasn't. Since Xiaoming's so confident, and he was the one who came up with this idea, then I'll leave the search for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing to Xiaoming. Xiaolong smiled, looking at Xiaoming as if he had faith in him. Xiaoming, the hope of House Kang's rise rests on you. Of course, no problem. Kong Ming Ming had no choice but to agree. Even if Xiaolong didn't say anything, he'd be the one doing all this anymore. There was no way he'd change the person, so he might as well agree first. He'd achieved his goal of beating down Xiaolong. Good, I'm happy that Xiaoming is so responsible. Dr. Kong nodded, happy. Since that's the case, then it's settled. Guifeng, you go get in touch with the Xiao family, and Xiaoming, you go find the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Xiaolong, hurry up and think of a way to sell the miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in the warehouse. House Kang's funds are being used up too much, Even if we get the recipe, we'll need a lot of money to develop it. Yes. Everyone agreed at the same time. Cuepu, on the other hand, had nothing else to do. He'd already been like this for the rest of his life. There was no need to show anything else. His son, Kong Ming, had been chosen by Dr. Kong to be the next head of House Kong. Cuepu could continue being a spoiled brat because of his son's status. The leisurely days flew by quickly, and these days, the villa was filled with the sounds of Xiao, the Miss and Shu's laughter. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of Su Shihan's concert. Miss, Shu, Yun, and Xiao had been waiting for this day for a long time. Su Shihan could be said to be the idol of many young people. Boys liked her, girls liked her too. It wasn't just because Su Shihan was beautiful, her voice was sweet, and her voice was pleasant to the ears. It was also because of her purity. Ever since her debut, there had been no scandals, and there had never been any negative photos or videos. In this era, Su Shihan was indeed an anomaly. But Su Shihan, who didn't take off her clothes, was more popular than those who took off their clothes. This meant that most people still liked pure celebrities. Han, what do you think? If you really can't do it, just announce the cancellation of the concert? Wang Sis looked at Su Shihan with concern. It's okay, Sister Wang. I just need to rest for a while. The fans are already here, and some of them came from other places. If the concert is cancelled, they'll be really sad. Su Shihan shook her head and smiled bitterly. It's okay, I'll grit my teeth and get through it. And then don't force yourself. If you really can't handle it, just stop it. I'll find an excuse to change clothes or a stage malfunction to stall for some time. Wang Sis said. Do you understand, Han? I understand. Don't worry, Wang Sis, I'm not a kid anymore. Su Shihan smiled. Wang Sis, Su Jiaonong is here. At this time, the bodyguard Feng Sanhuang pushed the door open and reported. He wants to see Miss Su. Oh? What's he here for? Wang Sis paused. All right, I'll go see him. In fact, Wang Sis still had a sliver of hope. She hoped that Qibing would change his mind and not make those unreasonable requests. He would just accept some money and help Su Shihan cure her illness. Otherwise, with Qibing's conditions, Su Shihan wouldn't agree to it. Qibing would lose both his money and himself. In fact, Qibing didn't think that he would lose both his money and himself. He sent Su Jiaonong here to threaten Su Shihan. He was getting impatient. He had waited for so long and Su Shihan still hadn't come for treatment. This made Qibing's heart itch. Such a beauty, he couldn't hold her in his arms. Qibing didn't want to give up. So he sent Su Jiaonong here to ask Su Shihan if she wanted to cure her illness or not. If she didn't want to, there wouldn't be a chance in the future. Mr. Su, why are you here at this time? Wang Sis came to the guest room and saw Su Jiaonong. Although she was still holding a grudge against Qibing's words, she didn't seem to have any inappropriate behavior. Manager Wang, I don't need to tell you why I'm here. You should know. Su Jiaonong smiled and didn't beat around the bush. He went straight to the point. Master Bing asked me to ask Miss Su something. Are you going to cure her illness or not? You have to know that Master Bing's patience is limited. Mr. Su, of course we want to cure her, but Master Bing's conditions, we can't do that. If you need money, just tell us. Even if we have to sell everything we have, we will still come up with the money. But if young Master Zhao still asks for those unrealistic conditions, then we can only regret it. Wang Sis said. Manager Wang, do you mean Miss Su's will? In other words, there's no room for discussion? Su Jiaonong's face darkened. No room for discussion. Wang Sis said firmly. My will is Miss Su's will. If that's the case, then I'll go back and report. But Master Bing also said that if Miss Su doesn't agree, then there's no room for discussion in the future. You guys have no room for discussion, and we have no room for discussion. Su Jiaonong said faintly. Manager Wang, good luck. I won't see you out. Wang Sis was infuriated as well. This Zhao Qibing was really a pervert. He didn't want to earn money and instead wanted to get intimate with her. But Xiaohan wasn't an ordinary celebrity. She wouldn't agree to his unreasonable request. There was basically no room for negotiation. So Wang Sis didn't mind offending Su Jiaonong. After sending Su Jianong away, Wang Sis couldn't help but sigh. It seemed that her request for medical treatment was a complete failure. If Xiaohan was an ordinary person, or if her looks weren't so outstanding, then perhaps she could just spend some money, but… Chapter 1287. As Su Shihan's bodyguard, Feng Sanhuang always had this kind of expression on his face, but it was also because of this that Su Shihan and Wang Sis didn't put up their guard against him at all. He wasn't like other men who would show an expression of infatuation towards Su Shihan. Of course, they didn't know that Feng Sanhuang was actually a spy. They were all deceived by Feng Sanhuang's calm appearance. "Sister Wang, you're back." Shihan saw that Wang Sis had returned and nodded to her. In fact, Shihan had never thought that Qibing would change his mind. Shihan had seen too many of these kinds of people. They were lustful and wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. However, there were many young masters who inexplicably disappeared after coming to find them. They were either under the control of their families or mysteriously vanished from the face of the earth. Although Shihan didn't believe that it was a coincidence, there were no clues at all. Su Shihan even wondered if it was God's blessing for her tragic life. Su Jianong came and said the same thing as before. He asked if you would agree to Zhao Qibing's request, and I rejected him right away. Wang Sis said to Su Shihan, "Xiaohan, this time, Wang Sis made a mistake. I asked you to treat him, but it caused some trouble." "Sister Wang, don't say that. You did it for my own good. How can I blame you for this?" Su Shihan quickly waved her hand and said, "Wang Sis, it's fine. I've been sick for so many years, I've endured it, it's fine." "Yeah, our Xiaohan is strong enough." Sister Wang laughed. On one side, Shihan was getting ready to go on stage. On the other side, tens of thousands of spectators had already flooded into Songshan's cultural stadium. With Peng Zhan's position in Songshan, getting a few front-row VIP tickets was a piece of cake. The 5 of them sat in the front row of the stadium. Other than Lin Yi, the 4 girls were very excited, especially Tang Yun. She never thought that she would have the luxury of attending a concert. And it was a front-row VIP ticket. Although she didn't use her own money to buy the tickets, Tang Yun was still very happy. However, she didn't show it. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was screaming excitedly with Yu Shu, Su Shihan, Su Shihan. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other helplessly. They were fans, but they weren't crazy. They were quiet people, unlike Xiao Xiao and Yu Shu, who would cheer with the crowd. Only Lin Yi was dozing off on the VIP seats as if nothing had happened. Sleeping at Su Shihan's concert, Lin Yi was probably the only one. Although the concert hadn't started yet, which fan wasn't waiting excitedly? How could he fall asleep? Lin Yi was actually training. Ever since he heard what Jiao Yazi said, Lin Yi knew that Xiao Xiao didn't have long to live, and so he started training day and night, closing his eyes and entering the jade space whenever he had the chance. Because Lin Yi knew that some things could only be resolved after possessing absolute strength. Therefore, what Lin Yi wanted to do the most right now was to level up. "Shield bro, why did you fall asleep?" Yu Shu looked at Lin Yi strangely. "Shu, don't disturb him, he's training." Meng Yao knew Lin. There was one time when Lin Yi was watching TV with his eyes closed. Meng Yao had asked Lin Yi about it, so without a doubt, Lin Yi was still training. Meng Yao could more or less guess what Lin Yi was thinking too. He wanted to get as strong as he could so he could heal Xiao Xiao. Oh. Yu Shu nodded and didn't disturb Lin Yi anymore. They were watching a concert now, so it didn't matter to her whether or not Lin Yi watched it. Lin Yi indeed wasn't that interested in Su Shihan. He had enough beauties in his house, and Lin Yi couldn't possibly be interested in a so-called celebrity. Wasn't it just a little girl who could sing and dance? The Miss, Shu, Yun Yun, and Xiao Xiao all knew these things. Lin Yi didn't need to look at others. After a while of waiting, the stadium's lights dimmed, and the music stopped abruptly. Su Shihan was going on stage. At this moment, the audience in the arena cheered excitedly at this moment. Su Shihan, Su Shihan, Su Shihan. Everyone was screaming, waving their light sticks, spoons, and laser sticks in the air. Yu Shu and Xiao Xiao stood up like the other fans, moving their bodies to the rhythm of the song. Lin Yi frowned and covered his ears with his hands. The noise was too annoying. The The stage suddenly lit up, and all sorts of colored lights shot towards the stage. A huge beam of light shot towards the stage as well, and the mechanism on the stage activated, and a stage slowly rose up from below. This was pretty much the procedure for all the celebrities. The stage of the stadium was circular, and the celebrities could only come out from below the stage. They couldn't go through the audience. What? The fans cheered again when they saw Su Shirhan in her pink youth outfit. "Hello, my fans, I am Su Shirhan." Su Shirhan politely and humbly greeted everyone. "Thank you all for coming to Songshan Culture Stadium to attend my live concert. For this, I express my deepest gratitude." Lin Yi opened his eyes and looked at the girl on the stage. Her body and face were flawless, but who knew if those words were true or not? Was she thanking the fans for coming here and giving her money? In short, Lin Yi wasn't very interested in her. After a few glances, he closed his eyes again. As for Lin Yi's actions, the Miss, Shu, Yun Yun, and Xiao Xiao all felt helpless and thankful at the same time. Lin Yi was such a waste of a ticket. But he wasn't a pervert. How could he close his eyes and continue training after seeing such a beautiful girl? It seemed like Su Shirhan's position in Lin Yi's heart was far lower than Xiao Xiao's. In fact, it was true. Lin didn't care about Su Shirhan's life or death. If Su Shirhan and Xiao Xiao were to be naked in front of Lin Yi would look at Xiao Xiao first. But Lin Yi had to admit that Su Shirhan's voice was very sweet, and her voice was like the sound of nature. And with Lin Yi's sharp eyes, he could tell that Su Shirhan was singing for real, not lip-syncing. Chapter 1288. The only thing Lin Yi wanted to thank Su Shirhan for was that she brought laughter to Xiao Xiao. Looking at the excited Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi felt that it was a good decision for Su Shirhan to hold a concert in Songshan at this time. If there was a chance in the future, he would thank Su Shirhan in person. Soon, the concert reached its climax. Under Su Shirhan's lead, the entire audience went wild. Everyone stood up and sang and danced along with Su Shirhan's voice. Even the Miss and Tang Yun were affected by the atmosphere. They stood up and danced along with the music. One had to say, if Lin Yi didn't have super strong willpower, he would have been affected by everyone. Of course, Lin Yi's willpower wasn't something a normal person could achieve. So, Lin Yi sat in his seat and didn't move. Lin Yi only opened his eyes to look at Su Shirhan before closing his eyes again and moving his body. At the front of the VIP seats, a middle-aged man sat. These VIP seats were usually not sold to the public. They were used internally. These good seats were given to people with connections and people close to Su Shirhan. But there weren't many middle-aged people who came to watch Su Shirhan's performance. Other than the parents who brought their children, this middle-aged man was the only one. The middle-aged man's clothes were simple and low profile. But people who knew what he was wearing would be shocked. His clothes were ordinary, but the material was top-notch. Beside him, there was a man in his 30s. The man's eyes were bright, and he was dressed in black like a bodyguard. Evidently, he was the middle-aged man's bodyguard. "Feng Er, don't you think that I'm a useless man? I can't even protect my own woman and daughter?" A tear flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes. It had been so many years, and he had been holding it in. Only in front of a few close subordinates would he show a hint of sadness and exhaustion. To become a powerful person, one had to learn how to be ruthless. Too much emotional restraint would give the competitors a lot of opportunities to attack. Even if there was love in his heart, he had to show it. Master, Feng Er doesn't know. Feng Er only knows that Master is a powerful person, a person who does great things. Those who do great things don't bother with trifles. The bodyguard called Feng Er replied respectfully. "You, what else can you say besides these words? You're not as smart as your third brother." The middle-aged man shook his head helplessly. "But you're loyal. You've been with me for so many years, but can you talk to me once in a while? Don't treat me as your master." "Master will always be master. I don't know what else I can be," Feng Er said blankly. "Forget it." The middle-aged man waved his hand. "Let's watch the concert." "All right." "Miss is so beautiful." Feng Er nodded and said. The middle-aged man shook his head. His phone vibrated. Lin Yi took out his phone from his pocket and looked at the caller ID. It was old man Lin. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. After all, the old man rarely took the initiative to call him. Most of the time, it was him who called him. And for the old man to call him, it must be something important. With that thought, Lin Yi quickly picked up the phone. "Hello, old man? What's up?" Lin Yi said. "What did you say? It's so noisy over there, can't you hear me?" Old man Lin yelled into the phone. "E, where are you? What did you say?" Lin Yi couldn't hear what old man Lin was saying. The concert was too loud, and the two of them couldn't hear each other clearly. "Wait for me, I'll find a quiet place to call you." Lin Yi yelled into the phone, but his voice was quickly drowned out by the music. Lin Yi wanted to say something to Xiaoxiao, but she was waving her glow stick excitedly. Lin Yi didn't want to disturb her. He turned to Tang Yun, who had also stood up and was singing along with the miss, but she wasn't as engrossed as Xiaoxiao. Lin Yi pulled Tang Yun's hand, and she quickly lowered her head. "What's wrong?" "I have something to do, so I'm going to make a call. I'll let you know." Lin Yi waved the phone in his hand. "All right." Tang Yun nodded. Lin Yi stood up and left the VIP area, quickly leaving the stadium and heading to the washroom in the corridor. But when he got to the washroom on the first floor, Lin Yi heard voices coming from inside. It was a man's voice, and it sounded very familiar. "Master Bing, I didn't see Su Shihan, but her manager rejected my suggestion." "Yes, she said she wanted to spend money to treat her, but I told her that it's not negotiable." "Don't worry, Master Bing, I'm at the concert. If she acts up, I'll go persuade her. If she doesn't go to Yaowang, no one else can treat her. She'll definitely fall into Master Bing's arms." It was Su Jiaonang's voice. Lin Yi stood at the entrance of the washroom and listened for a while. He recognized the voice of an old acquaintance, and it seemed like he was talking to Zhao Qibing. As for the content of their conversation, Lin Yi could roughly understand it. The superstar Su Shihan probably had some illness and went to Yaowang to treat her, and Zhao Qibing probably asked Su Shihan for some unspoken rules, which she rejected. Su Shihan wanted to spend money to treat her, but Zhao Qibing didn't agree, so the two were in a stalemate. Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Yi. It didn't matter if Zhao Qibing was picking flowers or messing with grass, as long as he didn't provoke Lin Yi wouldn't care about him. Since he wanted to play with the superstar, then he couldn't interfere. This kind of thing, one was willing to fight and the other was willing to suffer. That Su Shihan wanted to treat her, so it was natural for her to be played by Zhao Qibing. After listening for a while, Lin Yi didn't want to listen anymore, but this washroom, Lin Yi didn't plan to go in. Although Lin Yi could forcefully kick Su Jiaonang out, this washroom was obviously the closest one to the stadium. Now that Su Jiaonang was inside, it was hard to say if other people would come in. Lin Yi felt that the conversation between him and old Lin should be confidential, so Lin Yi didn't want others to hear it, and he couldn't let others hear it. Lin Yi decided to find another washroom that was further away. Chapter 1289. Ouch! Shihan covered her temples with both hands, her whole body lying on the basin, breathing heavily. She thought that she would be able to get through the concert, but she didn't expect that her headache would act up again in the middle of the concert. The more Su Shihan tried to calm the headache, the more it hurt, and the more anxious she was, the more painful it became. Su Shihan? Lin Yi finally recognized the girl who was washing her face with cold water and screaming in pain. It was the famous celebrity, Su Shihan. But shouldn't Su Shihan be on the stage? Why was she here? Moreover, it seemed like something had gone wrong. That's right. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he heard Su Jiaonang and Zhao Qibing talking on the phone. They mentioned something about Su Shihan's illness? Could it be this kind of headache? With that thought, Lin Yi felt that it was very possible. Su Shihan heard someone call her name and was shocked. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi in fear. She rushed into the bathroom to wash her face with cold water, and she didn't think that there would be someone in the bathroom. This was the bathroom in the basement. Other than the staff, there shouldn't be anyone else. The staff should be busy cleaning up the mess. Why would there be someone in the bathroom? And looking at Lin Yi's face, Su Shihan obviously hadn't seen him before. Although it was impossible for Su Shihan to know all the staff in the company, most of them looked familiar, and the staff all wore the same badge. No matter how this person dressed, he didn't look like a staff. For you. Su Shihan looked at Lin Yi cautiously and asked, "You have a headache?" Lin Yi frowned. He didn't want to poke his nose into other people's business, but Lin Yi wasn't thinking about Su Shihan's headache, but the consequences of her headache. Since Su Shihan appeared here, the concert must be interrupted, and if Su Shihan didn't recover, the concert would be forced to end early. This wasn't the result Lin Yi wanted to see. Lin Yi didn't like Su Shihan, and he didn't really look forward to her singing, but Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it. Xiao Xiao had been looking forward to this concert for a long time. How could Lin Yi let her down? Xiao Xiao was different from normal people, and every day she lived was a day less. Other people might regret not being able to see the concert today, but Xiao Xiao would regret it forever. She might not be able to see Su Shihan's concert in this lifetime. In order to let Xiao Xiao have a perfect day, Lin Yi wouldn't allow the concert to end early. So, he had no choice but to help Su Shihan. "What are you doing?" Su Shihan was very cautious towards a stranger in the washroom. She took 2 steps back subconsciously, but the splitting headache made her steps weak. She only took 2 steps back before she fainted on the floor. The only thought in her mind before she fainted was to call for help, but running from the stage to the washroom had used up all the energy in her body. She didn't have any extra energy left. Lin Yi didn't think that Su Shihan would faint before he could say anything. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But Lin Yi still had to save her. He walked to Shihan's side and didn't care too much. He directly grabbed her wrist and started checking her pulse. Lin Yi felt Su Shihan's pulse and frowned. He flipped her eyelids and looked at her tongue, but he didn't find any abnormalities. This surprised Lin Yi a little. This Su Shihan, where did her headache come from? Of course, Lin Yi could feel Su Shihan's pain, but he couldn't find the cause yet. It was really strange. But Lin Yi took out the silver needles from his pocket and sterilized them with pure qi. He started to perform acupuncture on Su Shihan. He inserted needles into Su Shihan's chest, head, wrist, and other parts of her body. Then he started massaging her head and chest with his energy-infused hands. Su Shihan moaned. Finally, she woke up under Lin Yi's acupuncture and massage. But when she woke up, she saw a man pushing her to the ground. One of the man's hands was placed on her chest. Pervert! Su Shihan woke up immediately. She struggled to push Lin Yi away and get up from the ground. "Don't move, wait for me to remove the needles." Lin Yi frowned and used his hand to seal Su Shihan's acupuncture points. He didn't let her move or scream. Then he started to remove the needles from Su Shihan's body one by one. Su Shihan's eyes widened in shock. She didn't know what Lin Yi did to her, but it seemed like he just touched her a few times, and she couldn't move or scream anymore. It was as if she had been injected with an anesthetic, and only her eyes and thoughts were still under her control. The rest of her body didn't seem to belong to her anymore. What was this man trying to do? The next moment, Su Shihan saw Lin Yi pull out a bunch of needles from her body and put them in a small box. After doing all this, Lin Yi casually poked her body a few more times, returning her to normal. Shihan subconsciously screamed as soon as she regained her composure. Lin Yi had no choice but to cover her mouth with a frown. "Stupid girl, don't call me that. If it wasn't because my girlfriend wanted to watch the concert, I wouldn't even bother to save you. Don't think that you're some celebrity. You're not even close to my girlfriend. I have no interest in you. Stop dreaming." Su Shihan was furious. She wanted to argue, but her mouth was covered by Lin. She couldn't make a sound. "Did you hear me? Nod your head if you heard me," Lin Yi said coldly. Su Shihan quickly nodded. She wasn't stupid. At this time, she had regained her consciousness. The splitting headache disappeared as well. It seemed like her headache was really cured by the person in front of her. Chapter 1290. It hurts. Su Shihan covered her temples with both hands as she laid on the basin, gasping for air. She thought that she could make it through the concert, but she didn't expect that her headache would act up again in the middle of the concert. The more Su Shihan tried to calm her headache down, the more anxious she got, the more painful it became. Su Shihan? Lin Yi finally recognized her. The girl who was washing her face with cold water and screaming in pain was the superstar Su Shihan. But shouldn't Su Shihan be on the stage now? Why was she here? Moreover, it seemed like something had gone wrong. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he heard Su Jiaonong and Zhao Qibing talking on the phone. They mentioned something about Su Shihan's illness? Could it be this kind of headache? With that thought, Lin Yi felt that it was very possible. Su Shihan heard someone call her name and was shocked. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi in fear. She rushed into the bathroom to wash her face with cold water. She didn't think that there would be someone in the bathroom. This was the bathroom in the basement. Other than the staff, there shouldn't be anyone else. The staff should be busy dealing with the aftermath. Why would there be someone in the bathroom? And looking at Lin Yi's face, Su Shihan obviously hadn't seen him before. Although it was impossible for Su Shihan to recognize every single worker in the company, most of them looked familiar. Plus, all the workers in the company wore the same badge. No matter how this person dressed, he didn't look like a worker. Or you? Su Shihan looked at Lin Yi cautiously. You have a headache? Lin Yi frowned. He didn't want to be nosy. Lin Yi wasn't a nosy person. However, Lin Yi wasn't thinking about Su Shihan's headache, but the consequences of her headache. Since Su Shihan was here, the concert must be interrupted. If Su Shihan didn't recover, the concert would be forced to end early. This wasn't what Lin Yi wanted to see. Lin Yi didn't like Su Shihan. Whether she would continue singing or not, Lin Yi didn't look forward to it. But Xiao was looking forward to it. Xiao had been looking forward to this concert for a long time. How could Lin Yi let her down? Xiao was different from others. Every day she lived was a day less. Others might regret it if they couldn't see the concert today, but Xiao would regret it forever. Perhaps she wouldn't be able to see Su Shihan's concert for the rest of her life. In order to let Xiao have a perfect day, Lin Yi wouldn't allow the concert to end early, so he had to help Su Shihan. What do you want? Su Shihan was still very vigilant towards a stranger appearing in the bathroom. She subconsciously took 2 steps back, but the splitting headache made her steps weak. She only took 2 steps back before she fainted on the ground. Su Shihan's only thought before she fainted was to call for help. But running from the stage to the washroom had used up all the energy in her body. She didn't have any extra energy left. Lin Yi didn't expect Su Shihan to faint before he could say anything. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But Lin Yi still had to save her. He walked to Shihan's side and didn't care too much. He directly grabbed her wrist and started checking her pulse. Lin Yi felt Su Shihan's pulse and frowned. He flipped Su Shihan's eyelids and looked at her tongue, but he didn't find anything strange. This surprised Lin Yi. This Su Shihan, where did her headache come from? Of course, Lin Yi could feel Su Shihan's pain, but he couldn't find the cause yet. This was strange. But Lin Yi took out the silver needles from his pocket and sterilized them with pure qi. He started acupuncture on Su Shihan. He inserted needles into Su Shihan's chest, head, wrist, and other parts of her body. Then he started massaging her head and chest with his energy-infused hands. Su Shihan moaned and finally woke up under Lin Yi's acupuncture and massage. But when she woke up, she saw a man pushing her to the ground. The man's hand was on her chest. Pervert! Su Shihan woke up immediately. She struggled to push Lin Yi away and got up from the ground. Don't move, wait for me to remove the needles. Lin Yi frowned and used his hand to seal Su Shihan's acupuncture points. He didn't allow her to move or scream. Then he started to remove the needles from Su Shihan's body. Su Shihan's eyes widened. She was shocked. She didn't know what Lin Yi did to her, but it seemed like he just touched her a few times, and she couldn't move or scream anymore. It was as if she had been injected with an anesthetic, and only her eyes and thoughts were still under her control. The rest of her body didn't seem to belong to her anymore. This person, what was he trying to do? The next moment, Su Shihan saw Lin Yi remove the needles from her body and put them in a small box. After that, Lin Yi poked her body a few more times to make her go back to normal. Ah! Su Shihan subconsciously screamed when she returned to normal. Lin Yi had no choice but to cover her mouth and frowned. Stupid girl, don't scream. If it wasn't for my girlfriend wanting to watch the concert, I wouldn't even bother to save you. Don't think that you're some superstar. You can't even compare to my girlfriend. I have no interest in you. Stop dreaming. Su Shihan was furious. She wanted to argue after hearing Lin Yi's words. But her mouth was covered by Lin. She couldn't make a sound. Did you hear me? Nod if you hear me clearly. Lin Yi said coldly. Su Shihan quickly nodded. She wasn't stupid. She had regained her consciousness, and the splitting headache was gone. It seemed like her headache was really cured by the person in front of her. Chapter 1291. Su Shihan wasn't stupid. In fact, she was a smart girl. She had been in the entertainment industry for so many years, and she needed to maintain a clear head and a calm heart. So after a short moment of anger, she calmed down. This man in front of her was obviously not a normal person. She had fainted from the pain before, and this had happened before, but every time she fainted, the next time she woke up would be the next day. It wasn't that easy to wake up. But this man in front of her just used a few needles and a massage to wake her up, and her head didn't hurt at all. This was even more effective than Zhao Yaowang's miracle medicine. And what shocked her the most was that this man in front of her knew how to use acupuncture. She wasn't sure if it was called acupuncture, but it was called that in wuxia dramas. Lin Yi just used a few acupuncture points on her body, and she couldn't move or speak. She could only assume that Lin Yi knew how to use acupuncture. She was shocked that he knew how to use acupuncture and massage, but she only thought of him as a medical master. But if he knew how to use acupuncture, then he wasn't just a medical master anymore. Could it be that Lin Yi was a Wulin as well? But there were very few people in the Wulin who knew how to use acupuncture, right? Su Shihan wasn't a practitioner, but her bodyguard, Feng Sanhuang, was. She didn't know what level he was at, but from what he said, she had a certain understanding of Wulin practitioners. There were people who knew how to fight, but to be able to use acupuncture. This was unheard of. Looking at the eyes of the man in front of her, there wasn't a trace of evil in them. She knew that what he said was probably true. The eyes were the window to the soul, and especially for an actress like Su Shihan, she knew what eyes meant. The man in front of her really had no interest in her, and he wasn't just saying it. He was different from Zhao Qibing, who looked at her with lust and affection, but Lin Yi didn't. He didn't even look at her with admiration and excitement, as if he was looking at a normal person. Maybe this man was telling the truth. His girlfriend was prettier than her, and he saved her so that his girlfriend could continue to watch the concert. And so, Su Shihan nodded. But even so, she was filled with hatred towards Lin Yi. She was supposed to be grateful to Lin Yi, but she couldn't feel anything at all. Women are strange creatures. This sentence is not wrong at all. Lin Yi wasn't like Zhao Qibing, and that made her feel relieved, but Lin Yi wasn't interested in her at all, and even said that she wasn't as pretty as his girlfriend, which made her very unhappy. No matter what, she was a superstar who was the center of attention and was pampered by thousands of people. Did he not take her seriously at all? Was he blind? Plus, his reason for saving her was laughable, and it made her feel even less grateful. But in her heart, she didn't know why, but she was a little envious of Lin Yi's girlfriend. She was lucky to have a boyfriend like this. Lin Yi saw her nod and let go of the hand covering her mouth, saying faintly, "Are you done? If you're done, go back to the concert, no need to thank me. If you want to thank me, take a picture with my girlfriend after the concert, that's your reward." Hearing Lin Yi's words, Su Shihan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She didn't even say that she wanted to repay him, okay? With this attitude, he wanted her to repay him? Su Shihan was very angry. But being angry was one thing, and Su Shihan wasn't an ungrateful person. No matter what, Lin Yi helped her solve a big problem. Lin Yi's original intention wasn't important. What was important was that Su Shihan benefited from it. And so, without even thinking about it, she nodded and agreed. On one hand, it wasn't just to repay Lin Yi's kindness, but also to ask Lin Yi if he could cure her illness when they had enough time. From her point of view, Lin Yi had a way. Lin Yi's medical skills were probably higher than Zhao Yaowang's, and most importantly, Lin Yi didn't have that kind of thoughts towards her, so Su Shihan didn't worry about dealing with him and let him treat her illness. "Sure. This is my phone number, call me after the concert, and I'll send someone to pick you up. Su Shihan nodded quickly and said a string of numbers, then ran out of the washroom. Time was tight, and she had to touch up her makeup and go on stage again, so Su Shihan didn't have time to chat with Lin. There was a problem with the stage, and the fans were very anxious. But there was someone who was very pleased, and that person was Su Jiaoneng. The first thing he did was to call Zhao Qibing again. Master Bing, good news? Su Jiaoneng said excitedly. What good news? Su Shihan agreed. Zhao Qibing paused and asked. Su Shihan's illness acted up on stage, and she said that there was a problem with the stage, but I think it's most likely her headache. Su Jiaoneng said, I'm going to take Yao Wang's medicine to Wang Laoshe and ask her if she agreed to your request. Good, I like taking advantage of people's difficulties. Zhao Qibing was very happy. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Then you go now, and report to me as soon as you have good news. When Lin Yi went upstairs, he passed by the washroom on the first floor and heard the conversation between Su Jiaoneng and Zhao Qibing. A playful smile appeared on his face. It seemed that Zhao Qibing's plan was going to fail. Although Lin Yi didn't have any special thoughts on whether or not Zhao Qibing was drooling over Su Shihan, but he unintentionally ruined one of Zhao Qibing's plans. Lin Yi was very satisfied. After leaving the corridor and returning to the VIP seats, Lin Yi smiled as he looked at the slowly rising stage. Su Shihan was probably going to go on stage again. Lin Yi, honey, you're back. There was a problem with the stage just now, and you left at the right time. You didn't miss any good performances, and you just came back and started again. You're so lucky, Xiao Xiao said when she saw that Lin Yi was back. Yeah, what a coincidence. If I didn't know that Shield Bro and Su Shihan didn't know each other, I would have thought that Shield Bro and Su Shihan had a date backstage. Yushu said. Chapter 1292. I'm not one of her fans, and I don't really understand, so I'm not interested. You guys watch, Lin Yi smiled, not replying to Yushu's words. The stage rose, and the concert restarted. Xiao Xiao and Yushu's attention returned to the concert, and they stood up, waving the light sticks in their hands with the other fans, celebrating the start of the concert. Lin Yi looked at Su Shihan on the stage. She seemed to be in good spirits, much better than before. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It seemed that Su Shihan was back to normal. Looking at the happy Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi felt that he made the right choice in saving Su Shihan. Of course, Su Shihan's reappearance made some happy, while others worried. Su Jiaoneng didn't know that Su Shihan had reappeared. After ending the call with Zhao Qibing, he rushed to the basement and dialed Wang Wenshi's number. Hello. Wang Sis had just finished dealing with Su Shihan's matters, and she let out a sigh of relief when Su Shihan finally returned to the stage. Although she was wondering why Su Shihan was fine all of a sudden, time was of the essence, and Su Shihan didn't have time to explain. If she wanted to know the truth, she could only ask Su Shihan after the concert. Wang Sis was very familiar with Su Shihan's condition. Every time Su Shihan's illness acted up, it would hurt for a while. There was no way she could recover so quickly. And this time, it was obviously much worse than before. It seemed that Su Shihan had endured for a long time. Just as she was about to return to the resting room to watch Su Shihan's live recording, Wang Sis's phone rang. Seeing Su Jiaoneng's name, she frowned. What was wrong with this Su Jiaoneng? Wang Wenshi? I'm Su Jiaoneng. Su Jiaoneng's tone was proud and condescending. Mr. Su, what's the matter? Wang Sis asked faintly. It's like this. I heard that Miss Su's headache is acting up again. I happen to have Zhao Yaowang's medicine on me. I wonder if Wang Wenshi and Miss Su can agree to Master Bing's request? Su Jiaoneng went straight to the point. Some things didn't need to be hidden, especially in front of an understanding person like Wang Sis. Who told you that? Xiao Han is fine. It's just that the stage malfunctioned. It seems that President Su's information is wrong. Sister Wang was a shrewd person. Although she knew that what happened before couldn't escape Su Jiaoneng's eyes, she wouldn't admit it personally. So, she just asked without saying anything. Just now, when Su Jiaoneng opened his mouth, Wang Sis even thought that Su Shihan had gotten the headache medicine from Su Jiaoneng and had taken it to calm her headache. Moreover, Su Shihan had paid a price in exchange for the concert to go on as usual. Wang Jie couldn't be blamed for thinking like that. After all, only Su Jiaonong, the spokesperson for Zhao Qibing and Zhao Yawang, would be able to relieve Xiaohan's headache so quickly. Other than that, Sister Wang really couldn't think of anyone else with such great ability. But with Sister Wang's understanding of Su Shihan, she knew that Su Shihan was a strong person. She would rather die from the pain than agree to Zhao Qibing's unreasonable request. This was a girl who would rather die than submit. Unless she really liked someone, she wouldn't do anything over the line. And Su Jiaonong's words proved Sister Wang's guess. It seemed that Su Jiaonong didn't know that Su Shihan had returned to the stage and was performing as if nothing had happened. That was why he said such shameless words, wanting to make a deal with Sister Wang. Wang Jiaonong, let's not beat around the bush. What happened to Su Shihan? Was it because of the stage malfunction or because of her own problem? We all know this. I just want to ask you, do you want the concert to continue? If you want the concert to continue, then you better agree to Master Bing's request. I have medicine with me that can help Miss Su Shihan's headache immediately. Su Jiaonong said. President Su, I'm sorry. I already said that your information is wrong. Why don't you believe me? The stage has been fixed and Su Shihan is performing again. If you don't believe me, you can go and see for yourself. Sister Wang smiled. President Su, I think you can see this clearly. There's no need for me to lie to you, right? Su Jiaonong froze after hearing Sister Wang's words. But he did hear the sound of singing in the stadium again. At first, he thought that it was some song for the audience. But after listening carefully, it seemed like Su Shihan was speaking. Could it be that he made a mistake? Su Shihan didn't leave the stage because of a headache, but because of the stage malfunction? After hanging up the phone, Su Jiaonong went back upstairs to the concert venue, only to see Su Shihan standing on the stage in perfect condition, singing and dancing. She didn't look like she was having a headache at all. This made Su Jiaonong extremely depressed. It was just like what Sister Wang said. Nothing happened to Su Shihan. He made a mistake. Su Jiaonong sighed. He had boasted to Master Bing before, but now the problem was, how was he going to explain it to Master Bing? After one climax after another, the concert finally came to an end amidst the passionate cheers of the audience. Although the fans weren't done yet, it was time to leave. After Su Shihan finished the last song, she bowed to everyone and said, Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend my concert. Thank you. Although there was a small incident in the middle of the concert, the end result was very smooth. Su Shihan, Su Shihan, Su Shihan. We can't bear to see you go. Su Shihan, we love you. The cheers from the audience came one after another. Su Shihan's eyes were a little wet. Thank you, everyone, thank you so much. But after 4 hours, everyone is tired. I'm tired too. I hope there'll be a chance for us to meet again next time. The next concert date hasn't been set yet. Everything will have to wait for the official news from the company's website. The stage slowly descended. Su Shihan waved to everyone and said goodbye reluctantly. Lin looked at Su Shihan. He didn't know if she was really reluctant or just putting on a show.